Hello, hello. Hey, cousin.
Hey, how are you?
Hey.
Oh, how's it going?
Good. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, good. What you up to on this good Saturday?
Chilling. I'm back in. I might be doing some grad school stuff, so that's gonna
Oh yeah.
take a lot of time.
Yeah. Are you enjoying grad school?
Um, I think enjoying is the wrong word, but I understand the like kind of the purpose of it, and
Right.
I understand it takes a lot of time and work. So it's just about getting my mind right. But yeah, so
Yeah.
I at least appreciate that I'm committing to the
Yeah.
process.
Yeah. I enjoy grad school only in that I knew I was gonna get it over with way quicker than grad school. Like it was a 2 year process for me. So
Hmm.
I was able to get in and get out and get it done because, there's no enjoyment in grad school other than the potential for, growth in your career and all of that. But
Exactly.
yeah, I don't miss the papers and I don't miss the presentations and I don't miss the discussion boards and all of that. So, but I'm
Exactly.
sure you'll be out of there in no time, I'm sure.
Yes, I'm hoping for that.
I like your blockbuster shirt.
Oh, thank you. I had to represent. That's what I came up on. I'm sure you have your own memories of, of Blockbuster, so I figured why not.
I do. I still have my Blockbuster card actually.
Do you really?
Katrina. Yeah, I still have my Blockbuster card and lost it in Katrina. I found it actually, but it was destroyed. So yes, I used to love Blockbuster. So that's a good memory. I like the shirt. I got my favorite Black Marvel t-shirt on. Can you see it?
Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
Here we go.
It's my Blue. You're gonna have to stop. You're gonna have to stop. You're
What
gonna
up,
have
Blue?
don't call her name because she already almost knocked the thing down since I've been on here. But what, 3 minutes, 2 minutes? She already knocked the camera down. So we are here to talk about our favorite, our upcoming uh movies and TV shows that we're most looking forward to.
Mhm.
And I'm very excited to hear your list because I know you have some stuff on your list that I haven't even gotten on my radar yet.
Definitely. So who did you want to start out first, or?
Yeah. So you know what? This is not and my list is not in any particular order, but hey Joan, thank you for joining us. Happy Saturday, Joan.
Hey.
Um, oh, you know what? I think we need to do like housekeeping and stuff first, right? I didn't
Yeah,
even
sure.
introduce you and like we just listen, you're gonna have to guide me, cousin. I'm not, this is not my forte. But for those who are joining and who are gonna watch later, this is my good cousin, D Movie Man. He is a cinephile and a popcorn addict extraordinaire aficionado, and he was my very, very, very first YouTube cousin on YouTube. So it's only right that I do my very first collaboration with my good cousin D Movie Man.
Absolutely. I am so happy to be here. I appreciate you, your commentary, your channel, all of that. I actually looked just so I was sure. Do you know that the first when you did that first video, like the first time I clicked on that, that was September 2021. So we're
Oh,
coming up
really?
on, I think it might have been September 11th or September 15th.
Yeah.
So we're coming up on like a year from that. And it's crazy because it feels like it's been
That's
so much longer. It's
crazy.
something about YouTube time. It's crazy.
I know, that's crazy. I didn't even realize that. I guess I need to pay attention to things like that. Maybe I'll do like a my year in recap or my first year recap or something of me just acting silly on this internet.
Yeah, it's plenty to pull from.
Yeah, I'm for real because all I do is get on here and act crazy. But I really appreciate your content because like you're so thoughtful about what you say and the you really pay attention to like the nuances and all of the like the unwritten dialogue that people have, and you pay attention to so much, and it's very, very much the opposite of what I do. And I really appreciate that, and I learned a lot from your videos, watching your videos. So I'm very proud of you and really happy to see that you're gonna be my first collaboration, my first live buddy.
Yeah, of course. And I can say the same. I promise you. And I don't know if I've told you this before. I don't even know if we talked about it. But the day your video just so happened to pop up, it was early in the morning. I was like, I gotta go to work. I'm tired. I'm over it. And then just so happened, and it's crazy how YouTube will just kind of throw whatever video. I think maybe I had just done Shang-Chi a review, and maybe that's why. Sometimes it's because other people, click on stuff, but I think it was because they just done Shang-Chi. And so I clicked and I was like, oh, well, LB, that looks interesting. And so I clicked, let me go brush my teeth.
Right.
And so videos playing, I'm like, who is this? Like, wait, who is this again? And I'm just a cracking up. I'm like laughing. I'm just like, I'm usually not that I'm negative when in the morning, but I'm just not a morning person.
Right.
So the fact that I was just a cracking up, I was smiling, had it playing on the way to work. I was like, okay. So I'm like, I'm interested in seeing like, where this channel is gonna go. So I commented on it and everything, and just from then on, I'm like, everybody needs to know about LB. Like, girl's channel, man.
Thank you, cousin. That was fun. I really had a good time doing the video. Didn't know what I was doing, and still really don't know what I'm doing. But it's really not about that for me anyway. Like, I just do it just for simple enjoyment, and I've connected with so many cool people. So if nothing ever happens after that or beyond that, I'm grateful for everything that I have anyway. So it's been amazing, and I'm gonna have to do a little. I don't know. I'm gonna give myself a little cake or something for my my 1 year YouTube anniversary. But
yes, because you do realize that you had a certain goal by the end of that year.
I did.
You're not even all the way to a year, and you see where you are right now.
I know I did, and maybe I should set another goal. I haven't I haven't set another goal for my channel, but maybe I should. And I said I was gonna invest in my channel and like buy a camera or something once I got to a certain point. But I mean, I like to keep it simple. I'm a casual girl, as you can tell. So I don't know. I feel like I'm doing okay with my camera and my Amazon ring light, and that's all she wrote. But I love how you have your green screen. I tried the green screen and I almost like put it on the curb instead of sending it back to Amazon. I couldn't get it. The lighting I couldn't do it, and it was just too much for my spirit. I had to pull it up and set it up, and but I really love that because that's very professional, and you're a professional, so I appreciate that too.
I mean, I do try, But no, I think there's something to be said about if it's not broke, don't fix it. It's nice to have bells and whistles and all that, but like people tune in for you, So as long as you're there and you're giving what people appreciate and want to hear, then you're good to go.
Yeah, I know. Thank you, cousin. Hey Lee. Hey Sincere. What's going on? Sincere is always the first one to comment on all of my videos. He always comments first, and he'll just say first sometimes. So what's going on, Sincere? Thank you for joining us, y'all. Lee, we are going to be talking about TV and movies and all of the things. We're probably going to get off on a tangent. I'm a tangent queen, so that's probably what we're going to do. But yeah, so you want to go ahead and get started, D? I know you have something fire to start your first item on your list with.
I do. So, and it's already, I will say for me, it's already been a really solid year. And not that 2021 was like a bad year, but I think for me, maybe some of my expectations, I think as far as the bigger films, some of them, it kind of fell kind of flat. So, going into 2022, I'm like, okay, well, let's see what's going on this year. And I have not really been disappointed. And it's interesting because a lot of kind of the smaller films are the ones that have been coming through. It's been some, the big ones have been fine, but a lot of kind of the hidden gems, I think this year, those have really been shining. But as far as like what's coming up next, just off the dome, we're going to have a film called Honk for Jesus, Save Your Soul. That's going to be coming out.
Yes.
I think it's directed by Adama Ebo, starring Regina Hall and Sterling K. Brown. And now I've technically seen it myself. I actually saw it back in Sundance back in January.
Okay.
And, I did a review for it, and so I kind of knocked my review out. I knocked my review for it out ahead of time. And my anticipation is more so to see what people think of it.
Yeah.
I shared my own thoughts about it, but I love Regina Hall. She's so underrated. She's so
Yeah.
talented.
Love
So
her.
is Sterling K. Brown. And so it'll just be really interesting to see what just how people respond to that film. Whether they love it, whether they don't, or just seeing that. It's kind of interesting to see something at the beginning of the year and to be almost at the end, and then have that, like, what do other people think? And so I'm excited for that, just to see kind of the general reception to that film.
Yeah, that was on my list too. And I think anytime you get Regina Hall in a pick that's more lighthearted or that's like a comedy, you're gonna win every time. What did I say? Did I call her the right name? Did I call her right, Regina?
Yeah, Regina Hall. Yeah, I think you said
Woo!
it right.
All right, I was about to say I don't want to call her wrong Regina. I didn't want to call her Regina King because that's not correct. Okay,
I know, and there's so many people who have who have done that for years.
I know, and I'm sure she's probably annoyed about it, or maybe she just doesn't even care anymore. But yeah, I'm really excited for that one. I think it's gonna be funny, and I think that for me, growing up in the church and like seeing those kinds of images, like with the church hats and the suits and the thrones on the stage and the music, like seeing that on a big screen in this kind of situation in terms of like wanting the spotlight and kind of having that money aspect that people will talk about what you're not really supposed to talk about, but having that on screen is going to be really, really good. And Sterling K. Brown, I'm excited to see him in something that's not This Is Us, right?
Exactly.
Like, not something that's like that. He was in what's the name of that movie? Cousin, I know you know it, and I forgot it, but he was in another movie, The Hotel Artemis.
Oh, I think he was in that. I thought you were going to say Waves.
Oh, see, I never even heard of Waves. I don't even know what that is. But I haven't seen him in anything outside of This Is Us other than Hotel Artemis. So it'll be good to see him stretch himself and kind of get into some new roles and let folks see what he can do. And so he can show us his acting chops, right? Because we know he can act now, but just showing us in another way. So that's gonna be good. I don't know why he would tell. I'm trying to figure out how they end up on the side of the road though. Why are we honking for Jesus? Like, I know why, like they get put out, but why would they think that was a good idea? I don't know. I'm very interested to see though why they end up on the corner shaking for the Lord. So that's gonna be good. Hey, that's my best friend, y'all. Kalisha Joe, that's my bestie. Hey, bestie. So on my list, I'm gonna go ahead and start with House of Dragons. Just off top. I can't wait. It's tomorrow. I listen, I was obsessed with Game of Thrones. I had not watched I've not read the books. So when the show came on, I was watching it because it was just this big hype. But when I tell you thoroughly engrossed, like I had outfits, I was trying to cosplay. Like I went to like a meetup with people in the city so we could like talk about it. And I was like obsessed with it. So for us to get like a little something of that back, I'm fully ready for it. I'm excited. I saw I posted it to my community tab. It was like a guy who had done like the background from the books.
Yeah, I saw.
Man, I was like, this is so messy. It's gonna be so good. I love a good family, some family mess, some family tea. Yeah, that's gonna be good. They're gonna have dragons and like it's gonna be so good. So I'm excited for that one, and I'm gonna try to do them on my channel. But because life come at me fast a lot of times, and I just don't have time to film the way that I want to because basketball practice, homework, swim practice, and work and presentations, and I gotta do whatever, grocery shop and clean up, and so I don't have time to film the way that I want to. Oh, but you let me hit the lottery, and I could get a housekeeper and a chef and whatever. I'm gonna be full-time YouTube. Y'all gonna get all the content. But until that time, I'm gonna do his best. I'm gonna do my best. So I'm really looking forward to that one.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, what are you most excited for with House of Dragons, especially after the way the initial series ended?
Cousin, you don't bring it up. We don't need to talk about it. We don't ever need to speak of that again. It was very, very unfortunate, and it made me very upset. But I think I'm looking most forward to seeing the whole blacks and the greens concept, like the two women I can't remember her name, the Targaryen one and the other one.
Yeah.
I ain't there yet, but I don't have names yet. But there's like a whole backstory with them, and they used to be best friends, but now they're not, and and it's gonna be very, very interesting to see these women be in positions of power, whether like formal power or informal, in that they can influence the folks that actually have the power. That was my favorite part of Game of Thrones. To see old lady Tyrell, and you let them know that I'm the one that did it. See her, the one from the original Game of Thrones, that was the one for me. She did it for me. And if I was anybody in Game of Thrones, I would want to be her, because she lived a long life and was taking names and kicking butt the whole entire way. So I love that aspect of Game of Thrones, but also like seeing the backstory to what led up to what we saw in Game of Thrones. That's gonna be amazing.
Yeah, and that's what I love about prequels. Like, you have something that's pre-existing. You have something like, it could be anything like Star Wars. And it's like you have this foundation. You have this, you have this world that's been hinted at as far as things that have happened before. So, like, if you've seen A New Hope, old Ben says that there was a time, before the Empire. There was a time before all this happened. And there are things, that you couldn't even begin to comprehend that shaped, the way life is now. And then we go back, and then we see, the Old Republic. We see all these Jedi. We see all these things, and we see kind of like what leads up to, to cause this collapse and this takeover by the Empire. And we just see like the little pieces here and there. And it's cool to know, and it's cool to kind of, because the what happens in the future to an extent, like seeing the little Easter eggs here and there, like, oh, I remember that name, or I remember that person, or I remember like that. You start seeing the little connections. So that's what I love.
Now, see, cousin, I haven't seen any of those movies. And I was gonna try to, but I got overwhelmed and didn't know where to start, and I just gave up. One of these good old days, I'm gonna watch it, and I'm gonna know all the references, and I'm gonna know what y'all are talking about. But I just got so overwhelmed. Maybe that's what I'm gonna do on my channel too. Maybe I'll just go through and start from it's actually not from the beginning, right? Because they out of order in the way that they were released in the theater, kind of like Marvel. But I got overwhelmed. But that's one of my goals. That's gonna be a goal for 2023, is to get caught up. Wish me luck.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah, no, Star Wars is fun. I would say just give yourself time, because it is to me. It depends on the person. But to me, I'm good with the first 6. If you want to go beyond that with some of these other ones, then it's kind of up and down as far as whether you want to do that. But I would say the best order, if you do decide to see it, I would do, which sounds weird to say, but I would do 4, 5, then 1, 2, 3.
What? Really?
Because 4 was, and at the time it wasn't 4, it was just Star Wars or A New Hope. But that's technically where it starts off, and then it goes 5 and 6. That's a trilogy, and then forward in, like, I don't know, 1999 or something like that, we get 1, 2, and 3. So going off of the episodes, the reason
I said 4, 5, 1, 2, and 3. Okay.
And then 6, because I think there's a certain reveal. I mean, it's not hard to figure out, but there's a certain reveal in 5. And then 1, 2, 3, you get to almost jump back and see like what, kind of the extent of that reveal and how that came about. And then 6 just closes all of those stories out. So
okay, well, I got my notes.
Yes, you could also do 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, but yeah, it's kind of up to you.
Don't confuse me. Wait a minute. I don't know. I'm gonna do what you said originally. So when you have 17 messages from me asking you questions, it's gonna be your fault, because you sent me over there to do it.
No, listen, I do that all the time. Like, and see, I miss having my movie nights and stuff like that. But I've told so many people, and even people I haven't even known, like not like my best friends, but even people I've known for a little bit. And it's like, you wanna, have a movie gathering or whatever, and I let everyone know, like, hey, feel free to ask questions. We got to pause because The one thing I don't want is to have someone completely lost and trying to watch the movie and like, oh yeah, I know what's going on, but I really
Yeah,
don't. And then it's like,
yeah,
the movie has no effect on you because it's like I don't understand any of this. So I'm like,
right.
so when I've done that, it's just like okay, so or we can chat it up about something, or throw out what's the word? Throw out a prediction for something. So yeah, you can ask me all the questions you want.
Yeah,
That's cool.
that's very thoughtful because a lot of people are like, you better shut it up. Like, don't you say a word in here until the credits are over and the lights come on and all the snacks are gone. We could talk when we clean up together. Like,
Right.
but that's very thoughtful because I've been in situations like that and I'd be like, wait, so is that who is this person? Is that somebody's mama? Or
Mhm.
is that the sister? And it messes me up because I'm all in my head. So
Mhm.
that's very thoughtful. So yeah, be on the lookout for my DMs. Are they all on Disney Plus, or do I have to like go other places? Okay,
Nope, they're all there. And I
which
already
one
know
is
you have Disney Plus.
I do?
I
Which
already
one
know
is the
you got
one
Disney Marvel.
with my husband Oscar Isaac? Which one is that one?
Oh, that's the that's the new trilogy.
Oh, that's not the ones you put in that I'm supposed to watch. 4, 5, 1, 2, and 3.
And that's what I'm saying. You can go and watch those, but just know that the and it's like I said, and some people enjoyed those, and I didn't dislike them. But if you kind of look at what the first six did and how we are just kind of what that ended up doing, it's
Yeah.
just I have to kind of look at that as a separate entity, kind of like this this
Mm.
this legend or myth,
Yeah.
mythical story.
Yeah.
But yeah, and you might like it, so I'm not trying to steer you away from that. But
Well,
it's all,
you
of
know, as
course,
a supportive partner, I have to go and watch my spouse's movies. I can't not,
exactly.
you know what I mean? That would be disrespectful of me. So I have to go and add that to my list. Thank you for letting me be delusional on this live. I appreciate it because I'm gonna marry him one day, one of these good old days, and we'll invite you to the wedding. It's gonna
Of
be great.
course. Like what did Glenda say in the Wiz? If you believe.
Listen, listen, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm gonna believe, I'm gonna speak it into existence, I'm gonna put it in the atmosphere, the universe is gonna hear me. Well, I guess I shouldn't, right? Because he's happily married. So I guess I'm like, anyway, that's not what we're talking about. We getting off on a tangent. See, that's where the tangents are coming in, and we're not gonna do that. But speaking of Disney Plus and Marvel and all that, obviously Wakanda Forever, Black Panther, Wakanda Forever is I don't even know, cousin, how I'm gonna process that movie.
Mm-mm.
I could barely get through the trailer. Like it took me a couple of days. Like I watched all the build up and the hype and all of that, and I watched the trailer and I watched it again. But then I had to take a pause because I was very emotional. Angela Bassett took me
Mm.
down through there, and I just wasn't able to process it. So I had to take a pause on it.
Yeah. And see, you have to know. Ever since August, and it still feels weird to even like say it and recall that literal day. But it's like August 2020. And it was the craziest thing because I remember I was watching a movie with my mom, and I think the movie itself was probably a little kind of sad, and so I think it just kind of come out of like, oh, okay, now let's watch something happy, and then my mom
Yeah.
like was looking at her phone, and she was like, oh. And I was like,
Mm,
what? And she was like, oh, it's something that's happened. I was like, oh, something really bad? She was like, yeah, it's really bad. Like, I'm gonna be like really upset. She was like, yeah. And so of course, then seeing that,
yeah.
like the way it's not like 2020 was a great year for
Anyway,
anybody.
right.
So it's like that's the last thing I think anybody needed or expected.
Yeah.
And so I have to be honest, although I know I mean, it wasn't a selfish mindset that I had, but as soon as I realized that, it was kind of like Wakanda Forever just kind of fell off my radar because it's
Mm,
just like how do we go forward at that moment? At that time, it just didn't seem like a possibility. And just
right.
thinking about Chadwick Boseman as an actor, as a person, and just what a light he was in so many ways. So I like for a long time, I'll be honest, like anytime anyone would ask about Wakanda Forever, I was like, I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good. I'm not interested. And then, of course, the problem is now. See, back in the day, we didn't hear reports of on-set stuff and all
Right.
this stuff that was happening. Now we hear like,
Right.
"Oh, this is going on with this
Everything.
person,"
Hmm.
everything. So I was just like, "Oh
Everything.
my gosh, this is like not like
Yeah.
gonna be." It just sounded like a mess. So it just added on to my frustration and sadness and everything. Now, the trailer, it gave me a lot more reassurance and a lot more hope for what this could be and what it'll mean to kind of transition and see where we can go forward from there. So I am excited about that. It looks beautiful.
It does.
It's like, and that how well crafted that trailer was and everything. I just hope that they can give us something that does the character justice, does this world justice, but still keeps us moving forward so that we don't just stay in that sad place.
Yeah, I know. And I'm hopeful that um people will, because there's a big, recast T'Challa movement with it, and those people are like 10 toes down on that recast T'Challa movement, and I hope that it doesn't deter them from supporting the movie and just kind of powering through it, because I have not been able to watch any Chadwick Boseman anything anywhere since he passed away. I haven't seen him. I have not watched Black Panther, which was one of my heavy rotation entries since he passed away. Also, Message from a King, is one of my jams too that I used to watch, and I haven't watched it at all since then. And hopefully, people will just, support the movie and support, the cast, and because it's a beautiful cast. Like, the cast is really diverse, and like that San Diego, was it Comic-Con? I think it was, right? Comic-Con panel where the gentleman playing Namor talked about, where he had come from, and he talked in English, and then he spoke to his people in Spanish, and it was just so good to see, and it made me feel good to see so many Black and brown people on the panel in the movie. And so hopefully people will go to support the movie, and that it won't send us into a deep depression after seeing it. I don't know. I'm really, and I'm also too excited to see Riri Williams. I'm really excited to see her.
Yes.
And I think she's gonna kill it. And I think that's, we ushering in a new phase. Like, we getting all the new people coming through, and new storylines. But this is my question though, cousin. Who do you think is in that suit? Who do you think it? Do you think it? Because it's obviously a woman. It looked like to me. So which woman is it? Because we got options.
I feel like we're being led towards it being Shuri.
Yeah.
Which I could see.
Yeah.
I would be interested if it was Nakia.
I want it to be Nakia.
I do too.
I do. I want it to be Nakia. I do. I just feel like she's gonna be able to do all the things, because Shuri's not a warrior. Shuri's not a fighter. She can fight, but Nakia will get down in there and knuckle you up, because that's part of the job sometimes, right? But I don't know, and I'm not sure that they would put it's not going good and terrible. And that's probably somebody asking me about my home warranty or my car warranty. But I don't think that Marvel would bank on Letitia Wright being Black Panther, because I think that she is I don't know. I just feel like she's not very well known, and Black Panther is such an important character to Marvel as a company, and to Marvel as a fan base and a fandom. And I don't know if they would let that rest with Letitia. I don't know, but I'm hoping it's Nakia. That would just make my heart smile. I don't know, and I'm really excited to see name. I think it's gonna be great. I really do, and I don't think Ryan Coogler would miss. I just don't think he's gonna miss.
Right. And also, that's what I'm saying. That's the other thing. I also have faith in him as a director, because he's done really solid work. He's done Creed. He's done this. Like, he's Fruitvale Station. Like, he as a director has such a great vision. And even if you look at Black Panther, there's a video. I don't know what magazine he did the interview for, but that whole casino throwdown scene, literally was like crafting like how he had the camera move from here. I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah. And we jump up to Okoye, swinging the spear, and just seeing how his mind works.
It was brilliant.
That, he would let us down. And I think knowing his heart for the story, and his heart for even Chadwick and the friendship that they had and all that kind of stuff, I think there's too much there for him to let us down.
Yeah, I agree. And I feel like, you know, I don't know. When did Black Panther come out? In 2018?
Yeah, it was either 17 or 18. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and he knew that it was going to be a sequel. So he's had time to think about the storyline. And obviously he had to pivot with the loss of Chadwick. But I think as of like foundationally, the story was probably already there. And he was getting it together. So I
Right.
just don't think it's like one of those like cash cow, cash grab kind of
Oh
things.
no.
It's going to be really thoughtful and really beautiful. And Angela Bassett is just gonna take my whole soul and put it in her purse and take it back to the house with Courtney B. Vance and the twins. I already know that, and I don't know how I'm gonna deal with it. But I do have a question though. In the trailer, she said my entire family is gone, but her entire family isn't gone because she would still have Shuri. So does that mean Shuri's gonna die too? I don't.
No, I think I could be wrong, but I'm thinking when she says that, I think we may have some flashbacks to like the blip. Um,
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
they were both gone at that
Yeah,
time. So I'm
they were.
wondering it might mean that, or it
Okay.
could mean like with this new. I think something may happen because you remember, like in the first Black Panther, we thought something happened to T'Challa. He gets thrown
Right.
off the waterfall, or whatever,
Right.
and so it could be something to where something happens with her, and we then think she's gone too, and maybe she makes that proclamation. But to me, it seems more like a flashback to the blip, possibly.
Thank God, man. Oof, that makes me feel so much better. I didn't. I just panicked and was like, "Wait, what? What is Shuri? What?" I'm just trying to make
Right.
sure all my people are okay. But
Exactly.
I like that, and I'm gonna stick with that. I'm gonna just put that here, and I'm gonna lock it in, and that's gonna be what it is. Because I can't take. I don't think they would do that to us.
No.
Like they couldn't. They couldn't possibly be so cruel. And
No, we are already going to be dealing with a lot with this
yeah,
film.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. All right, cousin. What else you got on your list?
Since you mentioned Game of Thrones,
Yep.
I figured I'd reference something that like kind of connects to it. I don't know if you've heard about The Invitation.
I
It's
have.
directed by Jessica M. Thompson, and then it stars Nathalie Emmanuel, and she
Mhm.
plays Sunday
Yeah,
on Game of
on
Thrones.
Game of Thrones, right?
Yeah,
It comes
and
out this weekend, doesn't it? I think it comes
it
out
was
either this weekend or next weekend.
it is the 26th.
Okay.
So yeah, the next week.
Yeah.
But that looks really interesting. Like it gives me like 'cause I believe it takes place in the UK. But it gives me like a UK Get Out,
Right.
Ready or Not
Yep.
vibes. But then of course with the creature twist, I won't say what it is, but in case anyone isn't trying to watch the trailer. But it looks very creepy and kind of, and I love, like I said, I love Ready or Not. I really enjoy Get Out. So just kind of seeing those two worlds kind of collide, then with that supernatural piece that they're throwing in, that looks really interesting.
Yeah, I think so too. I don't like to be scared, cousin, and I don't enjoy the whole I don't like that. I just it's just not my jam. There are some that I will power through just because I'm so interested in it, and that is one that I will power through. I love Nathalie Emmanuel. I really enjoyed her in what you call it? What's the name of that movie? Uh, Game no, Den of Thieves, Game of Thieves, Den of Thieves.
Oh, that was that.
The
I know what
prequel
you're talking about.
to yeah, yeah. I really enjoy her, and I think she looks just like Meghan Markle. I love her, but
Oh yeah.
yeah, I'm but in my mind, I'm always like, why would you do that? Like, why would you even go over there? Why you didn't? Where were you? Where? And I just get in my mind and my nerves get bad, and I don't want to be scared and have anxiety in the theater. So that one I might power through in the comfort of my own home when it starts to stream. But I will be supporting my homegirl Natalie. But I can't do it because they have another movie. And I don't know if it's coming out 22 or 23, but it's a movie called Smile. Have you
Oh my
seen the
god.
trailer for that? Cousin,
Yes.
just take me out, cousin. Just take me out and just poke my eyes out. Don't do that. Cousin, don't do that to me. Don't do that to me. You look just like that girl. I don't like that. Don't do that now. I'm gonna have to end this broadcast early if you come on here out. I couldn't even. I don't even know what it's about really. I saw when she was smiling that way and she was scared I don't even know what it's about. I just know for sure I'm gonna leave that right where it's at. That's not for me or my house. Or my brain, my whole family is not allowed to see that movie because it just looks way, way too intense for me.
Yeah. It's interesting because like that looks like there's this film, that came out like at least 3 years ago. But there's a film called Truth or Dare that came out. It was like a horror film, and it was like they go to this island and they kind of unearth something, and it basically causes it's almost, and it's weird. It's almost like a final destination thing where it's like, now this person, now it's this person, now it's this person. And it's like the person has to choose truth or dare. And it's like every time it presents the option, the person's face contorts into like this weird grin. So it looks almost like they just took that piece from it. And now it's about, but I'm like, what causes the smiles? Because it literally looks like that concept is borrowed. It looks real weird.
It looks awful. I don't like, that's part of the reasons I don't like clowns. Like, what are you smiling for? Clown, like you smiling, but you also have tears on your face, but nothing is happening to make you smile. I don't like when people respond inappropriately. It freaks me out. It freaks me out. And I don't know. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to hijack, but it just reminded me of that. That's not on my list at all. All. But yeah, I definitely think I'm gonna try to do some horror kinds of things. It's about to be spooky season in the fall. That's fall, winter. That's usually when they come out. But I'm gonna only give y'all one. So I'm gonna have to make my choice. It's gonna have to be a thoughtful selection because I'm getting one scary movie in, and that's it.
Exactly.
Maybe two, but definitely no more than two.
Okay. Real quick, because you just made me think of a series that I'm interested in. But I was going to ask you, since you've seen, what do you think of that question?
Oh, I guess, yeah. I don't know, Joan. I don't know. Are you going to see that movie, Joan? If so, when you see it, hit me up because you could tell me what it was about because I don't know. But I do feel like there was a part in the trailer that somebody was under like a blanket, they were dead, and they had like a bloody smile.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, it's possible.
I don't know, throw that whole movie away in a garbage can.
But I was gonna say, like one of your earlier reviews you did, or recaps, you did Midnight Mass. And I watched that too. So how was that experience?
Daytime watching. Okay. But I'm glad that I did because I didn't find it scary.
Right.
It wasn't like I'm looking over my shoulder to see if somebody's there, kind of scary. It was more suspenseful and because I'm in my head so much with people making stupid decisions, that helps me to not be scared too, because why are you doing these things? And I just, but I'm glad that I did it and I stretched myself, which is why I said maybe two, because I did one last year. Or was it this year? It was this year, but I don't know. And the guy, isn't that the same guy, whoever directed Midnight Mass and the other movies from Netflix? Didn't he? I think he might be responsible for Smile, or is it?
I don't think he's doing Smile. He is doing the Midnight Club on that.
The Midnight Club. That's what it is. Yeah. That one doesn't look scary either. It's giving me like, Are You Afraid of the Dark on like cards,
Which is funny because I remember Christopher Pike's books when I was younger, and like if you look at them, I don't know if you remember Fear Street.
Yeah.
But they had that same kind of look and vibe.
Yeah, they do. They do. And I'm always like, wait, you haven't seen which one? Joan, you haven't seen Midnight Mass?
I think it's Midnight Mass. Yeah, we won't spoil it.
No, we won't spoil it. I try my best. I tried to do reviews that weren't spoilers at first. I couldn't do it. I really could not. You ate my stress ball. She ate my stress ball.
Oh no. But
Anyway,
yeah, I will say Midnight Mass wasn't scary in that sense. I think it was. I think what really, and I think actually that's more so when horror really works for me. Like when there's kind of like this realistic fear and themes that kick in. So like episode 6, when they're all in the church,
yeah,
like the way that whole episode blew up, I was so disturbed by that whole
yeah,
thing because it wasn't just about like the fact that this is happening, but just how people are lending themselves and giving themselves over to this and what like destruction is being brought
yeah,
about. Like, do you understand what you're causing to happen right
right,
now?
yeah,
Yeah. It kind of reminds me, I mean, it's the same thing, but kind of like with the Invisible Man, like how what was scary about that was in addition to kind of how people abuse, you know, people who experience abuse, how they kind of had like have this PTSD and they are kind of like, you know, they it takes a long time for them to kind of come down off of that experience and feel
yeah,
safe. And still, it's very difficult to kind of unlearn the ways that you know kind of taught yourself to survive. But then also there are times we can be in the house by ourselves and we hear stuff. It could be the sink or it could be
yep,
someone driving by, but it's
yep,
almost like, am I, you know? And so I like when anything kind of horror lends itself to like realistic fears in that sense. Like not
yeah.
just about supernatural stuff, but like real
This
things.
could really happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I can do supernatural horror like vampires, ghosts. Just depends, but I can't do torture. Like, yeah. Yeah, Saw. I could. I did. I think I did the first Saw, maybe the second
Yeah.
Saw, but that was because of peer pressure. Because peer pressure is a real thing. But I couldn't. I can't do that. I barely got through 7 back in the day. 7 was
Ooh,
like
7 is a trip.
7 was that was a lot for my soul. But yeah, I agree. I don't really want to see like super graphic, like I don't know, and just something about horror movies and like the sounds of like torture, it
Mhm.
makes me want to just pull all my eyelashes out. It just is so difficult for me. But people who love horror love them some horror. Like they are true fans of that genre, and
Yeah.
it's just not me.
Yeah. It's interesting because it's like I've always had an interest in it, even when I was younger. Like you know, I read Goosebumps all the time. I like
Right.
watching Are You Afraid of the Dark? I've read actually what there was a I think it was the Fear Street. My first, it was like the Fear Street 1993 or something like that. When I did that review, I threw in like all the horror books I grew up reading because there were a lot of them, and so I
Yeah.
think I'm a big fan of like horror stories because those don't lend itself to just one type of horror. Whereas I think horror films, they tend to center around like one specific perspective, like
Yeah.
certain jump scares or certain themes, possession or ghosts or vampires, whereas you get a lot more of a range and you get like cultural mythology. You get
Yeah.
all these things that we kind of lend itself towards. So I've always been interested in it. And I think like some are more interesting than others, but I will say that over the past couple of years, I've had to kind of push myself towards more kind of positive content, more so just because of what the dynamics of that time in 2020 and all that.
Right.
But yeah, but I understand it's not for everyone, and I realize that I'm not as I'm fine with it, but I'm not as into it. Like people have whole horror channels,
You're
like
right. Yeah.
channels where it's like this is my whole the
That's
whole
it.
scope of what I do, and I'm not on that level. So
Yeah, I can't. Yeah, but more power to them. Somebody got to do it. It just won't be. It just won't be me.
exactly,
Yeah, Daniel. 7 is I don't know. It's just one of those movies that you just see. It's not like yeah, I can't wait to get home and get some popcorn and watch 7. That's not one of those like repeat watches for most people. I'm sure there is somebody out there who's excited to see that lady head in the box, but you
cool.
know, I don't know. And Brad Pitt, if I felt like it really was a head in the box though, like he just acted like his face and his expressions, and I could just feel it, and we were together in that moment. But yeah, I've seen 7 probably twice. And once because it was on TV. I remember specifically because it was one of those times where it was on TV and I couldn't find my remote and I didn't want to look
Oh
for
no,
it.
that's
I just had to watch it.
and even the vibe of that film, like I never realized it until like after I really went back. And I do my research. I just look up stuff just for fun. But I didn't realize that it's literally not until like those last few scenes that it's like raining and dark and gloomy throughout the entire
The
film. Like I don't think
whole
there's
time.
ever a
Right.
point where it's like not raining or something like that.
Right.
Well, even the feel of it is very like depressing, and we're in the city and
Yep.
all these horrible things are happening. And then
Yeah.
ironically, as a contrast, the most horrifying thing happens in the daylight in the sun. We're out in the countryside, and then it was a crazy experience.
I know. That reminds me of like when like Jeepers Creepers, they were riding in a car and it was a wonderful day and they were, on a journey or whatever. And that freaking horn, that sound of that truck or whatever that was he was driving came. And I think that's a great movie. I love Jeepers Creepers, the first one. But yeah, it's very disorienting when you like when it looks safe, you generally feel safe, and then all of a sudden you just dead. Like you just are just in jeopardy of dying all of a sudden. But little girl had better stop misbehaving on this live stream today. And now she leaving now because I done fussed at her.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry to say I put it on my community tab, girl. Hey, friend, how are you today? Yeah, once was enough on that. Okay, so on my list, I am going to let's talk about Blind.
Yes, that was on my list too.
It's on your list too. I think Anna de Armas is gonna kill it. I really do. I'm interested to see or hear her accent because her accent is very heavy. And I know they probably got every dialect coach in the world to work with her on that. But I'm interested to see it. But when I saw Anna de Armas in like the first look in the trailer, I was blown away. That girl looks exactly like mannerisms, like with the shoulder and like playing coy, and it's just a very specific mannerisms that Marilyn Monroe had that you gotta nail it if you're gonna do her. She nailed that thing, and I'm very excited to see what she's gonna do because she looked beautiful. She's one of my favorite up and comers. I guess she here now. I mean, she's been in some blockbuster movies, but she's relatively new to the scene. But I'm really excited to see what she's gonna do with that one.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I actually thought I know what you're talking about, that little like teaser first look thing.
Yeah.
And when they show that part, and I didn't realize I had to watch it a second time. So at the end, I think throughout they show her kind of like sad, kind of crying, looking very much upset and disoriented, and then you see her in the mirror, and I didn't realize it's not her, like it's a version of her.
Right.
It's like she's all kind of disheveled and kind of sad, and then this version of her is just kind of smiling like, like
Right.
I've always heard, not even in this film, but I've always seen these variations of who Norma Jean was, like her actual self versus the Marilyn Monroe persona, as if there are these two kind of separate entities. This person she had to become for the cameras, and but not who she actually was. And I liked how that end part really highlighted that.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be but what I'm interested to see is because we've all heard all of the Marilyn Monroe tea since forever. Like, you know what I mean? Who she dated, when they dated, what happened when she dated them, popping pills, alcohol, getting divorced, plastic surgery, whatever. But I'm interested to see what parts of her story they're gonna tell, if we're gonna learn anything new.
Right.
And like what spin Anna de Armas is gonna bring to her portrayal of Marilyn and Norma Jean, because obviously they two separate people. But listen, I think that they should keep her. I don't think they should dub her lines. But an American icon definitely is true for sure. But America is everybody. We all here in America. And so, she is Cuban. what's her name? Anna de Armas, yes. But it happens all the time. If like the casting choice, I think was correct, and I think she's gonna kill it. I think she's gonna be able to do it in such a way that we maybe hear subtle hints of her accent, but not much of it. And I think this is an opportunity for us to see how far she's come. And this is gonna be something that is like a hallmark for her career, and I'm happy for her. But Lucille Ball, what Lucille Ball with Nicole Kidman? Let's say.
I think I think it was called Becoming the Ricardos, but yeah, the one with Nicole Kidman and Javier Bardem.
Yeah, I didn't like that one.
Yeah, I tried to watch that one with my family.
Is that my laptop? Is it frozen for y'all? Or is it me? Somebody comment and let me know if it's my connection. Oh, it's okay. Yeah.
Okay. Can you see me now?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're back.
Yeah, I was gonna say that reminds me, but I will say it reminds me of how they'll do, and they're like technically American productions, or they might be British, depending on the company. But I noticed that a lot of these films that are set in, where we're depicting like period pieces for monarchies,
Yeah,
whether it's Catherine the Great, something with Russia or something in Spain or wherever. I notice a lot of times they'll just throw a British accent on it because it's a European accent, and
right.
they don't do it in the actual languages. So I'm not kind of surprised. We know that Hollywood will cut corners in that regard. So I think it's one of those things where we just have to see how distracting it is. Same thing with Black Panther and maybe some of the accents. I think some people could go with the flow, and other people are like, "Ooh, what is this?"
Yeah.
So depends, but I understand why some people might be like, not all the way here for it. But I'm willing to kind of go with the flow.
Go with it, yeah. And I hope that, however they did it or however they worked with her, that she was able to do well with it. And truly, I feel like I've read that she just learned how to speak English like 5 years ago, 6 years ago, like recently, like fluent English. I think she was able to speak conversational English, but like fluent English to do interviews and media training and all that. So she's relatively new to the language, but it is what it is, and I think she's gonna do great. But I do think accents can be distracting, because if somebody does a New Orleans accent, it pisses me off every single time. It's never a time when somebody try to do a New Orleans accent that just hit home for me. Never, no time. Marilyn was she part Mexican though?
Was she?
I have to do my Googles on that. Oh my goodness. Thank you, Daniel. I'm gonna Google it.
Oh, hey, Portia, what's going on?
Hi, Portia.
Yeah, Portia supports a lot of the reality TV recap channels, and she's
cool.
a good supporter of mine, so I'm happy to see her.
Come on, Portia, come on down to the live, girl. What's going on? But yeah, so what else you got, cousin? Because I think I just see mine. We had twin lists just now for Blonde.
Yes. And the last thing I'm just going to say about Blonde is that I don't know if they're doing this just for publicity's sake, which they may not be, but I keep hearing about the NC-17, and I'm kind of, not that that's my draw, but I am interested in like what would be so, I guess, graphic or explicit that it would require that
that rating. I know.
So
I don't know what they're gonna give us. I don't know. But Anna de Armas is really not a stranger to doing like nude scenes or like graphic kind of scenes. So I don't know. We're gonna see.
I know that because you did a very entertaining review on Dark Water, which you absolutely loved.
I'm never gonna forgive Anna de Armas for that. I don't know why they did that to us like that, but hopefully it'll be something that's not gonna traumatize us, because they have you ever seen a movie with that rating like recently? Has there been one?
I've seen one. Oh, actually, no Lord, I've seen two.
Yeah.
One Showgirls,
Oh,
which
oh yeah. Oh my goodness, I forgot all about.
Showgirls
I
is
blocked it from my mind. That's why.
exactly, and that happened for a reason.
Yeah.
Because I'm just gonna say really quickly that whole pool scene where folks were doing looked like a dying epileptic shark
No thanks.
splashing, and
No thanks. That's
no.
a hard pass. Mm-mm.
Oh, and it's crazy because you could almost see it depending on who maybe was in place, where that could have been a really interesting look at that world,
Yeah.
showgirls and the stage and Vegas and
Right.
all that. But the approach they took to that story was so like, ugh.
It
But
was
anyway,
not what it.
the
Yeah.
other one I saw was Lust Caution. It's directed
Oh,
by Ang Lee, and
okay.
actually, if you know uh, I know his name. You remember you saw Shang-Chi?
Yeah.
Tony Leung, the actor who plays
Oh,
Wenwu.
yeah.
Yes, he's the male lead in that film,
Okay.
and it's about this woman. Basically, it's kind of like a political story, and it takes place in like maybe 1930s, 1940s China, Shanghai, or something
Mm,
like that. And it's about this woman who basically becomes this kind of unintentional spy as a part of
okay.
this rebel group, and she has to infiltrate this kind of this leader, and she has to seduce him, basically, kind
Okay.
of seduce him and kind of win him over and kind of do what they can so that they can move in and assassinate him. Uh, and I will say, because for me, sexuality, intimacy, that stuff is kind of up and down for me. I don't need it.
Yeah.
Um, I think it can work for certain stories, but yeah, when I saw that film, I could kind of see where it was like, yeah, because there's a scene. I'll just say that there's a scene where he encounters her for the first time,
Yeah.
and that scene was very brutal. And I had never seen something depicted that way. They're trying to make a point. I know it sounds bad because they're trying to make a point about how he's a very sadistic person, but underneath that, it's kind of like the dynamics of the relationship change. So it's like it's interesting, but yeah, I got why that was an NC-17,
And what's
especially
it called again?
Lust Caution.
Okay. Gotta put
Yeah,
that in my notes too.
yeah.
All
And it's
right.
gonna be real interesting to see. I'm guessing for a lot of people, Shang-Chi it's like the first time a lot of people have seen Tony Leung.
That was my
So
first time.
it's gonna be interesting to go back and see him in that role. You're gonna be like,
Were you looking at him sideways when he was in Shang-Chi? Like, I remember what you did, sir. I remember Lust Caution.
yeah, a little bit, not as bad because I've seen like In the Mood for Love. I've seen a lot of his, so it wasn't
Okay.
as bad going from one
Okay.
to the next. But yeah,
Okay.
sometimes that's in my head. It floats around
Yeah.
sometimes.
I get it. I get it. Well, I'm definitely gonna check that out and I will be letting you know my thoughts on it. I'm kind of worried to go through it now, but I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna go through because I want to see it. But just be on the lookout for a long DM.
Yes. Yeah, and I will explain anything that needs to be explained because it's a
Yes,
trip.
please. Yes, because I'm probably gonna have several questions.
Yeah.
Um, so we're gonna lighten it up a little bit with
Yes.
this one. I'm ready for season 3 of Ted Lasso. Okay. Now,
Yes.
I personally don't know anybody who watches Ted Lasso. Nobody. And it disturbs my spirit because it's
Really.
one of the best shows I've seen, like, period. Like, just with a period on it. Like, it's an excellent show. Everybody kills it. There's
Yes.
not one weak link. It's funny as hell. You can pick any episode in the show of any season and just watch it and crack the hell up. And I'm really excited to see, and hopefully it's not going to be their last season because there's talk
Yeah.
about season 3 being the final season. And I don't want that to be. I want them to give me more. And
Uh-huh.
I don't know. I just love it. And when I'm like when I want something in the background that I want to sit down and watch, or if I gotta get up and do some stuff and just have it in the background and giggle while I'm washing dishes or whatever, that's my go-to one. That and New Girl. But Ted Lasso is my jam. And
Yeah.
it's I have a Ted Lasso game. I have Ted Lasso refrigerator magnets. I have Ted Lasso socks, and I have a Ted
Okay.
Lasso tea. You know, I gotta have my tea. So I'm a true fan.
Yeah, I finally got on board with Ted Lasso, and it's not like I ever thought it was bad. It's just that I tell this to everybody when someone mentions like, "Why haven't you watched such and such?" I'm like, in the last, let's just say in the last 10 years, because I remember what Netflix looked like back in like I don't know 2011,
Yeah.
2012. The way that all these streaming platforms have blown
Man.
up and how
It's,
each streaming platform has like 20 different shows you need to watch. I'm like, do
yes.
you know how hard it is to keep it
But
up?
keep up, right? Right. Yeah, I don't
Yeah,
blame you. I know it's like that for me with Paramount TV. People keep telling me to get Paramount Plus, not Paramount TV, but I don't have it. And they have some bangers on there, I heard, but I just can't. I can't do another subscription. I can't do
exactly.
another one. I can't do it. It's too much.
Yeah. And then it's just like, yeah, it's just like that stuff like just adds up and it's just like it's so much to kind of like from one to the next. Even though I
Right.
understand like if you're kind of in the reviewing, recapping, and trying to kind of make money off of YouTube, it's good to kind of be up to date, but it's still a lot, even for
That's a
the
lot.
people who do
Yeah, yeah. And speaking of which, Beautifully T asked if I was gonna recap She-Hulk. Are you gonna do She-Hulk? Because I don't know if I'm gonna try, but I don't. Oh, it's hard to
that.
do. It's hard. I don't.
Yeah. No, see, I'm still I need to finish Bridgerton. I'm on my last two episodes.
Yeah,
And I promise and it's so frustrating because it's like it's simply because of like you said, time and
yeah,
responsibilities and all that. That's the only thing. And I think when I did Bridgerton like the first season, and then I think I did that and Bling Empire. I kind of did those at the same time. I did those in like end of 2020, early 2021, and I think time and the way things looked were a little bit different. So
right,
going through that then was one thing, but now that we're in 2022, it's like I'm more cognizant of the taking the watching, the taking the notes, the figuring out and then recording, figuring out what to mention, what to cut out, and then
right,
once that's over, I have to edit and go through the whole
right,
process, which I did before, but now it feels like because that came out a few months ago, but it's like
right.
from one recap to the next, it's like, whew,
I
so it's
know,
a lot going on in between each one. So
I know. And you know what's crazy is that I really started my channel thinking that I was gonna review only MCU
yeah,
stuff. Um, and I can barely get any MCU stuff in. Um, which is so ironic to me. And I did watch She-Hulk. I watched it. I have insomnia, terrible insomnia. So I was up when it dropped and I watched it and I thought it was cool. I think it's gonna be a good addition to the crew, and I'm excited to see um Hulk and his cousin. You know, I love a good cousin, but
yes,
um I knew that I'm gonna do I mean not Game of Thrones, House of Dragons. And I was like, oh, I don't want to start it and then not be able to finish it because of all the things. And I have to my editing process, cousin, because I talk so damn much. I talk so much. It's ridiculous. My editing take longer damn that than actually recording the stuff. And I'm like, girl, you should just think about zipping it up a little bit. Like I had to cut out so much in the last in my I killed my dad video because I was like, you can't be talking about the DA. These people could come get you and find you. Girl, you gonna put yourself in a whole situation because you can't keep your mouth shut. So I had to edit out stuff. But I'm gonna try Beautifully T. How about I'll say I will try, but I cannot make you any promises.
I'll say this: you could always, once you go all the way through, you can just kind of give your general thoughts. There's
Yeah,
always a series review.
yeah, that's what I did with Bridgerton because I was gonna try to do every episode of Bridgerton. Life told me absolutely not, so I just did my recap at the end. So I might do that. That's a good idea. I should do that. Daniel wasn't through with the first episode of She-Hulk. You love Tatiana, so you'll get. Yeah, I think they. I don't know. I think the way that they introduced her and the way that they showed her turning into or like getting the blood mixed in her, veins and turning into the Hulk, I thought it felt like a little rushed, because it was like,
Yeah.
bloop bloop bloop, I'm a Hulk now, and it's, I was
Right.
like, okay, I guess. And she, well, I don't want to spoil it, but I just felt like it just felt quick. It was like very rushed, and I'm trying to figure out what they're gonna do, because there was a fight in the episode, and it was like, well, where did this person come from? What do they want? And you
Right.
just call them for 2 minutes, and then it's over, and now what? I don't know, but I don't know. I mean, I think it'll be good. They upsetting me with this phase a little bit. But I'm gonna ride with them. That's my people, so I'm gonna go ahead and ride with my people. But they're making me mad. I think they need to just slow down. They cranking out so much freaking content.
Exactly.
It's like we have something every like 2 months, and back in the day we had to wait 6, 8, 12 months for something to drop from Marvel. And now we get something like every 15 minutes. It's like, y'all got to chill a little bit. Give me
Exactly.
quality and not quantity.
Exactly. I said the exact same thing. And it's not like you don't have good ideas, you don't have interesting universes and characters and all that kind of stuff. But like, and I could say it's not even just the MCU, it's with anything, whether it's Star Wars, whether it's DC stuff, or whether it's anything else. Like, you have to give people, shoot, I'll even say it about Real Housewives. Because like, I remember even how with from one city to the next, it would be like months. And now we having 2 and 3, going at the same exact time. I understand that's different, but I even when you said that, I thought about that too. But I think with anything, you just need room to breathe. And so I know some people don't like. Some people are really pushing back against the Marvel fatigue thing, and I do understand to their point. They're saying like, hey, if you feel like you're tired of this stuff, don't throw yourself at every show that comes out, which I think is true. But I also just know that because we've been a part of this journey for so long, it's hard to not be like, oh, well, what are you doing with this character? And then what about this? But there's so much, and you feel compelled to still, and especially if you're paying for Disney Plus, you feel compelled to, keep up with this stuff anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, we just got to push back. I'm like, let's do maybe one show, or maybe a couple of shows, a couple movies for 1 year, and the next. It's good stuff. But I think, to me, once I saw Doctor Strange, because I did my review for that, and everybody knows how much I clowned in that review. But after Doctor Strange, and then the end of Moon Knight, because Moon Knight was solid, but that 6-episode situation and us kind of taking the finale like, oh, let's hurry up and wrap this up. I was like, that's enough for me. Oscar Isaac deserves like 8 to 10. Please.
Exactly. Yeah, definitely. I agree. Definitely agree. And I remember when they showed the end of this phase and the next phase, and they went into phase 6, and it was like 17 different things on the damn timeline. And I was like, how are y'all going to do this? How are y'all going to do it? And I know that it's a lot of people clamoring for it. It's not like people, you know what I mean? There are millions of people all around the world who cannot get enough of Marvel. But I definitely understand the folks who do have Marvel fatigue, and it's like, let me do something else. Can I get a drink of water, please? Can I watch another show? I'm all invested into this, journey and all of that, but I need a break. I get both sides, but I just feel like it's starting to feel like a cash grab. It's like, I'm gonna come see it. So you're not even worried about whether it's good or not. All you need to do is throw some stuff in here that can be added to the canon, and that's going to connect to something else, and the rest of the stuff can just be fluff. And I don't like that. Don't play with me like that. I've been with y'all since 2002 when Iron Man blew up the mountains or whatever that was behind him, and was Tony Stark and the whole thing. Don't disrespect me like that. You know what I mean? But hopefully the movies will be more thoughtful about the stuff that they doing, instead of just throwing shit out there and just knowing we're gonna eat it up. I don't know, because Doctor Strange just made me mad, and I'm sad and mad and just upset. And I just, what made me mad about Doctor Strange? I don't know why, but it really made me very, very upset. Was when at the very end, when Doctor Strange was the zombie and his face was all tore up, and he was trying to encourage America, like, you were the one that every time a portal opened, it led us right to where we don't talk to me with your mouth hanging off. Like, don't talk to me with your whole face on the side of the road. Like, I don't, you know what I mean? It just, I didn't like, I don't know. I didn't like that. I would have preferred to see actual Doctor Strange, like Stephen Strange's face, come to this realization, because Stephen Strange is an asshole. Like, he's like a jerk, and he's finally coming into a position where he's being more thoughtful about his interactions with people and encouraging people. But now I get to see his whole gum and his jawline and his tissue in the back of his mouth, and not actual. That made me so mad. I was very upset about that. But hopefully going forward, they won't make my nerves bad.
Yeah. I was gonna say, as soon as they brought Zombie Strange in,
Yeah.
I was like, "Where's Michael Jackson? Where's the Thriller music? Where?" Like, I was like, "What in the world?" It's just, to me, there was just a lot off tonally, and I
Yeah.
feel like if we hadn't had, maybe I would have felt differently were it not for WandaVision. But I
Yeah.
just feel like there was just a certain nuance and there was all this depth to WandaVision. And to me, it felt like whoever was there, I understand, and people keep throwing out the post-credit scene. I'm like, I get that. But
Yeah.
even where the show ended and where we got to the post-credit, what was the connection there?
Right. Yeah.
Why is this now happening? And I just felt like in the way they just she was there in the garden, and then it was like, well, hey, guess what? And then it just felt like such like they were really trying to rush into, like, let's go full blown villain. Whereas, and I understand you've said before, like, she always had that, but I'm like, but continue that descent. To me, they were just like, okay, we tired of building this up.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That's not one I already know. That's not one I'm gonna. I haven't watched it since it's been on Disney Plus. I have no desire to see that movie again. I'm cool. I know what had just like, well, I probably will watch Thor when it comes on Disney Plus, but I'm not gonna go back and be like, man, I can't. I'm gonna go home and get ready, and I'm gonna watch Thor: Love and Thunder tonight. I don't. It was okay. It was okay, and I just I don't know. Another gripe I have, and another thing, cousin, another thing is they keep recycling the same like actors and putting them in the MCU. And I really want to see some new people. I really want to get some up and coming people.
Exactly.
That's part of the reason why I'm excited to see Riri Williams. But when Harry Styles came on that ship at the end of the Eternals, that's when I knew. I was like, y'all, you know what? Y'all got, out of anybody on the planet who auditioned for this role, y'all pick Harry Styles. We already are gonna go see the movie. You don't have to worry about ticket sales. You don't need to throw Harry Styles in there. It could have been Ed Sheeran. Like I wouldn't have been surprised. I don't know why they did that. It's just like they keep, when Charlize Theron came in at the end of Doctor Strange, I was like, come on, man. Y'all can't give me another person?
Yeah.
It's the same people over and over again.
Yeah. And there's this meme that it's like, and I don't know if it was like a Squid Game thing or Hunger Game. I don't know what it was, but it just showed someone hiding under a desk and someone like walking around with like some kind of, I don't know if it was a paintball gun. It might have been a paintball gun or something like that. But basically the person hiding underneath, the label said, actors in the industry, and then it said like Disney / the MCU project. So basically they hunting down every last actor that's thrown in here. And I agree with that. It's like a lot of these people to begin with. I mean, not to say like we knew Robert Downey Jr. and we kind of knew some of these people, but some of these people we didn't. Like it was a kind of a new thing. I don't think anyone really knew Elizabeth Olsen like that, or other people. So it's like now it becoming this thing where it's like, ooh, and this person, and now this person. It's like, no, like we have. I'm a fresh talent type of person.
Yeah,
seeing unknowns jump in. Same thing with Chadwick. I knew Chadwick from 42, but I didn't know him really that much outside of that. So then seeing him take on Black Panther, So yeah, I think that's. I don't know if that's the thing where they're doing that to bring in people, but to me, that's not the way to do it.
I don't think so. It's just not smart, because something is gonna happen. Well, I'm not even gonna do it because it's gonna get on my nerves. But yeah, hopefully when they I'm hoping that they'll like bring in some new people because I know they're doing like some Young Avengers stuff,
Yeah,
and we're gonna get some new people with New Avengers, and they didn't release the damn schedule in the 2029, Lord. So maybe they're gonna give us some new people in some of these new movies. But I know one thing though, when Jonathan Majors debuts as Kang the Conqueror, he's gonna kill it. He is going to be so good. And I don't know what kind of variant of Kang he's gonna be, but man, so good. Oh, cousin, you with us?
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
okay. Yeah. But yeah, I think he's gonna be so good. And he was one that I was glad that they added to the role
Yes,
because he's gonna kill it. He's
yeah,
gonna kill anything he does. He's a phenomenal actor.
yeah. And I will say, I wasn't a for me, Loki was kind of different from what I thought it was going to be as far as a series. But oh my gosh, when he came in at the end and just that whole moment, and I love how that whole scene was just basically him talking. Like he was just in the way he just his mannerisms and the way he would talk and like he was just like, like
Yeah.
it was wonderful. Yeah.
And he had on Stacey Adams sandals. I ain't never gonna forget that. I will never ever forget that. I don't know who did that with the wardrobe, but that made my heart smile. I just couldn't believe he had on sandals. I don't know, something about like them old uncle barbecuing at the family reunion
Oh
sandals.
no.
That took me out. But I think that's gonna be good. And I think they are making a better effort to be more diverse with their casting. But they're not doing enough, in my opinion. And outside of what Black Panther and the newly minted Captain America, Anthony Mackie, my hometown homeboy, that's all we got. We ain't got and Rhodey, but they need to do a better job with diversity and just finding some people because they got a million actors in the world that they could go get. They could just go to any restaurant in New York or LA and pick somebody, just point somebody out and put them in the thing. And I'm sure they'll do a great job. But they're not gonna listen to us though, cousin.
Of course. Oh, okay. Oh, as far as Lisette, what do you think about what Lisette said?
I don't know. I don't know. They probably had some things that were postponed and what have you, just like everybody else. Everything got postponed, turned around, and shuffled. Um, but to me, it just feels like it's more than that. It just feels like it's more than like, oh, we gotta hurry up and get this out because blah blah blah. And I do know that has contributed to some of the storylines being um not as fluent as they could be, or not as they don't flow as well as I know they could
Right.
because they had issues with the editing houses and the mandates and whatever.
Mhm.
But nah, they just Kevin Feige is on one. That's what it is. He's just on one, and he's just moving too quickly, and nobody's gonna tell him no because he's Kevin Feige. And so if Kevin Feige said we're gonna release 17 movies a year and 27 TV shows, that's just what they're gonna do. And everybody's gonna be behind him because it's a billion-dollar, multi-billion-dollar endeavor. So when
Yeah.
money talks, it's gonna talk loudly.
And it's so funny. What? It literally used to be a part of your tagline. Do you remember the MCU part you used to say at the end?
Was with a specific focus on the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Because that's my favorite thing to watch.
That's my favorite thing to watch. Yeah, cousin, I sure did used to say that, man. I forgot about
I think you said it for every video too.
I did until I was like, wait, girl, you got one thing on here from the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It don't look like that's your favorite thing. So maybe you should
Right.
stop saying that. So I just dropped it. But but I know what, and we're gonna get off of Marvel and we're gonna move on. But
Mhm.
I do have to say that Mahershala Ali as Blade, when he came out on the stage and put the hat on at Comic-Con a couple years back, I was in my living room jumping up and down, like literally, like literal jumping up and down, because that's perfect for my for that character. I don't even who else could be Blade at this point? I can't even see it. And I know he's gonna do so well in that role. And he already has the look. He already has the stature and the swagger. And I want to see what they're gonna do with Blade. And hopefully they don't mess with 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 Blade and
I
do nothing
know.
rushed and mess it up, because that would make me very upset.
Yeah. Because I love those first two Blades. I never did see the third, and from what I've told, I don't need to. But yeah, those first two Blades, and they're very different. Like I appreciate both of them for very different reasons. Like I remember in the first Blade that scene that everybody knows where he goes to the rave and then the blood starts
Yeah.
pouring everywhere. Oh, and it was crazy watching. I think when I did see Blade, because I was like maybe in the high school zone. I mean, not high school, middle school, kind of going to high school. But it was crazy because I grew up with Sanaa Lathan, from Love and Basketball and The Wood and The Best Man.
Yeah.
So then watching that after those and then seeing her as Blade's mom, I was like
What?
that was crazy. As a vampire, I was like, whoa.
I know.
And then, oh my gosh, in the second Blade, when the mouths open up,
I know.
that was some of the craziest stuff.
It was
So
crazy.
yeah, so it's going to be interesting seeing because they don't have that R-rated, piece to work off of. So
Yeah.
hopefully they can still make it work within the confines of like PG-13. I want to still feel kind of horror-ish. So
They got to give me an R. You can't. Don't. And I feel like that's where they're going. They have to go. They have to. Like there's no way to bring these. Like they're going darker. So you can't Mickey Mouse Blade. Like there's no way to do it. You
it
just
doesn't
leave
work.
Blade where he's at. Then if you're gonna do that, same with Daredevil. Same with Punisher. Same with Mr. Fist. Same with all these darker characters. And I heard they're gonna do like the Midnight Suns and like Moon Knight is here, and so they gotta do it. And I listen, if you are a 12-year-old, go have a seat. This is not for you. Like you just can't come over here. Or your mama gonna have to take in. Y'all gonna have a conversation. Like don't deprive all of us. We've been with you since 2002. We are adults. Okay.
Yes.
So let me see this blood and guts, please. Like just relax and give the people what they want. That's what they actually asking for, not 70 movies a year.
Yeah.
But I'm sure they will, because nonstop talk about the Punisher, nonstop talk about Daredevil, who will be in She-Hulk, with his new suit and the whole thing. But yeah, I don't doubt that. They got grow up, Marvel, grow up and give us the R rating. All right, what you got on your list next, cousin? What you got?
Real quick, what did Portia say?
Portia. Thank you for reminding me to check the comments. Okay.
Oh, you're good.
I was like, okay, I meant to say I was gonna start a League of Their Own series, but I'm gonna start She-Hulk. Yeah, you know what? I saw a League of Their Own, like the tile, the tile on Amazon, and I watched the first episode, and it was cool. I haven't gone back, but the first episode was cool. It might be a slow burn, but I can't tell if it's supposed to be a comedy or a drama or a dramedy. I don't know. Do you know?
I'm not I remember the original one, and it's
Right.
it's one of those Chicago Chi-Town films, so I always appreciate those because that's one from.
Yeah.
But yeah, so but I watched that when I was younger, and I remember kind of the vibe of A League of Their Own was more so kind of, it was comedy, but there were obviously, with them being women and it being the times and all that, there were obviously kind of dramatic moments. So I'm assuming that they're leaning into, but it may be a little more dramatic depending on what they decide to pull from.
Yeah, because I know they have a an African American character in the show that's supposed to, she want to be a peach and she can't because it's the All American League and it's not for Black women, and she got to go through 75 different hurdles, obviously, to play baseball. So I'm assuming it will be heavier than the original. But I'm hoping that it's gonna be a good show, and I'm gonna try to take a look at that and support, because I've been having some luck with Amazon's originals. They've been coming through with it, and I enjoyed what's the name of the show? Reacher. That was my jam.
Yes, I actually just started Reacher.
Yeah, it was really good, and I really thought that, I forgot his name, the guy who plays Reacher did a great job, because I was reading about the original Reacher with Tom Cruise and the description of the Reacher from the books, and I was like, why the hell did they do that? Why did they do that? That was precisely. Yes, I don't know why he asked because that's exactly the right answer. They just were going to get them coins, and Tom Cruise had to be in every movie that had any action in it at all. It was going to be Tom Cruise and Bruce Willis. So I already know, but he's like the perfect casting for that. Like the way that they describe him in the books and the way that he looks in real life. I'm like, they were just waiting on you. They were waiting on you. It was
Yeah.
all about timing.
And that is a good example of what we're talking about as far as kind of relative unknowns and them being,
Mm-hmm.
like casting the right people. Tom Cruise is fine. I think he's great in like Mission Impossible. I love, I enjoy those films, but I mean,
Yeah.
he can't be in everything, and then you can't always go for, it can't always be about bankability. You have to, we have other people who have the potential to be stars too. So it's like give the opportunities, and he was perfect for that role.
Yep. Agreed. Agreed. Sam? No, that's not it. Cal? No, that ain't it either. I was trying to think of his name, but I can't remember. I can't remember his name.
I will say, if I do check out A League of Their Own, I'm probably gonna watch the movie again first. But Shantae Adams would probably be my reason to watch. She was, I don't know if you've seen The Photograph with Issa Rae and Lakeith.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, in the flashbacks with her mother, she plays her
Uh,
mom.
oh, really?
Yeah, with
Oh,
the
cool. Okay.
photographer, and she was with
Yeah.
Yolanda Noel from Insecure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn. I didn't even realize that. See,
Hmm.
good old D movie man coming through with the observations. See, I just watched stuff and didn't even have a correlation.
No, it's all good.
No one in the universe is above the law. Everyone who makes mistakes is counted in his knowledge. Thank you. Huh? What happened? I don't know what that means, Khalid. Were we talking about something that I missed it? Or did Khalid want to just drop some knowledge on us and leave? I don't know.
Maybe. Yeah, yeah, she was also in that too. And I didn't know this.
Oh yeah. Okay.
And I didn't know it at the time, but she's in a film. There's a film on Netflix, Roxanne, about Roxanne Shante. I didn't
Yeah.
know that was like her first big film. I think Nia Long plays her mom in that film. I have to go back and watch that.
Yeah. I never finished it. I started it and never finished it. When whatever that was, when somebody was supposed to come get them, and they were all on a bench waiting for somebody to come get them, and they didn't come, and I got mad and turned it off, and I never went back. And I think that was like very early into the movie, and I never went back. But I need to watch that one.
Yeah.
Daniel asked if we watched The Sandman. I am on like episode 4 of The Sandman.
You like it?
I do like it. I like stuff like that. That's kind of like moody. You know what I mean? Like emo vibes, like that kind of thing. And I always like when like personification. Is that the word personification? Is what I want to say? No, it's not. But I like when they attribute human characteristics to things that aren't human, like
Right.
envy and emotion and
Yeah.
the desire and things like that.
Right.
But I think it's gonna be good, and I'm interested to see how it's gonna work with the I forgot, she has a name. It's the vortex. There's a
Oh,
vortex in there, and I don't want to say much, but because I don't know how to not spoil, so I'm gonna stop talking about it. But from episode 1 to 4, it looks pretty good.
yeah. Yeah, I was interested in it, but I also know Neil Gaiman's his stuff can be very out there and very obscure. So
Mm,
I was just kind of, I mean, not worried, but some things are more accessible than other things. Like you may
mhm.
have like the idea of something, but then when you watch it, I'm like, I'm not connected to this. So that's the only thing I was worried about, because I thought American Gods, I thought like the first season of that, even though it was really kind of like, I don't know fully what's going on, but
Yeah.
the idea of mythology, and then different gods and goddesses, whether it's technology or spring or Easter, and
Uh-oh.
like what I think they had Ode Each That was really cool. Yeah, the way they approached that was really cool. But then as we went on, it was like, what is this? So I was worried that the Sandman might be real weird and obscure, but I'm hearing that even if you're not familiar with the source material, that people are enjoying it. So
Yeah.
it's like, dang.
Daniel. Personification. Yes, I got it right. So you know what? I was thinking about my list and thinking about what I was looking forward to. And I saw that they are making a movie about the silent twins. And I had no idea that they were.
Yep.
And I'm very excited to see how they're gonna do that. Because I saw Letitia Wright is gonna be one of the twins. I'm not familiar with the other young lady who's gonna be the other twins, but if y'all are watching and y'all don't are not familiar with the story of the silent twins, there were two twin sisters born in the UK. I think what cousin in like the 70s, maybe the
I think it was
60s or 70s, something back in the day. And they were raised in a very I don't know if it was wealthy, but it was very white, and they were African American. Well, they were Caribbean. They were from their parents were from the Caribbean, and they were living in this white neighborhood. Went to a white school. They were teased a lot, and for a number of reasons, they decided to just stop talking. Period. And they did not talk to teachers, anybody at school, the doctor, parents. They only spoke to each other. And they did this for decades. They were institutionalized. They committed crimes and all kind of things. And I won't tell what happened to one of the sisters because I know that's going to be in the movie and it's probably going to be a spoiler. But it was a very unique story. You better get off of my water bottle, girl. My good water bottle. I'm sorry. You just gonna embarrass me every time. But I'm excited to see that because that's one of my favorite, like, I guess it's not a true crime story, but it's one of my favorite, like, did you know kind of weird facts kind of story.
Yeah.
And to see that they're gonna make a movie out of it, I want to see how they're gonna do it because they don't say nothing.
Yeah. Right. That reminds me, there was a story. Let's see. I remember it. I didn't know if I couldn't remember their specific names, but they were, yes. There were these albino twins that were in the circus. They were African American, but they were just albino, and they had this experience of being a part of the circus act. And I think it was the Muse brothers, and it was interesting, kind of even seeing that story. So they're not the same, but I just remember when I saw that, it made me think of that other story.
Yeah.
But it's interesting. I agree with that. It's like there are all these very unique stories with all kinds of Black people across the. Even with the Silent Twins, they lived in Wales. It was in the UK.
Right.
So yeah. So I'm always here for just kind of different, whether it's some are sadder than others, but it's always interesting in seeing like a different perspective or lens of what the Black experience is for certain people.
Right. Yeah. Agreed. And hopefully it'll be like thoughtful because I'm always weary of like supporting films that aren't like approved by like the family or that will like damage the family that's still around in any way. Because I think the last sister passed away in like the 2000s, like 2010 or so. Some people still around, like they still have siblings that are still alive, and so hopefully they're being thoughtful about the way that they are portraying that story and they're not taking too much license with the story because they will juice it up now, for the movie, and I don't want them to do that. But I'm looking forward to that one too.
Yeah, I was gonna say with any biopic, as long as they don't take, and there are a few examples of this, but as long as we don't take the Nina Simone, Zoe Saldana route, then I'm good.
Don't you reference that movie, cousin? Don't you do it now? Don't you do it? And what about Viola Davis and Michelle Obama? Did you see the? Why? I'm trying to understand how this got greenlit and how I have so many questions.
I promise. Now, here's the thing. I remember when they first started showing the pictures and everything, and people first saw it. It was like, oh, okay. Like, but see, the thing is, a picture is a one image. So we're thinking we're gonna be these moments where it's like, oh, they do that,
right, like
like a moment here, a moment there. And here's the thing: when things go viral, it's never good. But when I saw that clip of her talking to Barack, and she was like, I think that, and yeah, you think they're not gonna call you? I was like, ah. And then I was like, but wait, this is still a hey, Tyra, Struggle Reviews TV. That's a
Hey.
good YouTube pal of mine. She does really good flashback reviews or kind of throwback reviews, especially Black classic movies.
And you know, I know it. I'm fully subscribed.
Oh, okay, okay, cool. Gotta make sure, but yeah, she's great. What was it? Oh, yeah. And so I was like, well, maybe I promise you, it looked like an SNL Mad TV skit. So I was like, let me go and see. And it was like, y'all are really
They were
doing
really.
it. And I promise you, like, and I like Viola, but I promise, I was really thinking like, does Viola Davis have beef with Michelle Obama? Because if I didn't know any better, I would almost think that they had something like some issue with that.
Man, I was like, is this like? I don't know. I just can't see. I just can't see it. I just don't understand who would think that that was a good idea, even if that is remotely how Michelle Obama spoke or had her mouth move. Who wants to see that for 2 hours? I don't want to see that. It's just not. It wasn't accurate, and I feel like if I was Michelle Obama, I'm using every. It's probably she don't even have to do much to get Viola Davis number. I know she doesn't. I will call her up and have a conversation because who are you playing with, ma'am?
Exactly.
That is ridiculous. That was absolutely ridiculous. And I just feel like good. I'm glad they canceled it. I'm glad they're not gonna do what they, were intending. And let's burn that footage. Let's burn it. It got to.
Yeah, and the thing is, I was interested in seeing like the structure and the idea of the show is cool. Like I do want to understand like kind of I like history. So it's interesting seeing like these first, like, like what they're, especially like with Eleanor Roosevelt, because there's some stuff I didn't know about her. Yeah. But even though I was interested in watching the show, they purposely, which also didn't make sense, they did this thing where it's like they chop all three into one episode. So like rather than do one episode about this person and one episode about her and then kind of like we do it that way and kind of maybe every three we switch back, they fuse them all in one episode. So even if I wanted to ignore this whole Obama part, like you making me watch it.
Force me to watch it. Like you gonna make me watch it. Yeah, that was not a good that wasn't good. And it just makes me sad that people got money to burn like that. Like why are you burning your But yes, they are. She is gonna be in is it called African Warrior? What's it called?
The Warrior King.
The Warrior King, yeah. I don't know much about it. Here's my stress ball. Can you see it?
Oh no.
She brought it to me like, girl, here it is here for you. Yeah, I don't know much about the movie, but when I tell you whatever the stills that I saw from the footage, she is fully committed to that role. Maybe she looks intense. Right. I don't know what they were about to do and what the circumstances were, but she looked intense. Yeah. So I don't know. I might check it out, but I'm sorry. It hit my head. And I'm gonna change the subject really, really quickly because I don't know if I was gonna say I don't know if I'll see it. And then it kind of pops into my mind that another movie that I don't know if I'm gonna go see is Till. Nah, cousin. Nah. That I'm gonna say I'm pretty much set on the fact that I'm not going to go see it. Because I can barely read about it or hear it or think about references to it, because when I do, I get an image in my head and we know what the image is, right? And we know the story. And I feel like that's one they could have left alone. I don't know, but it is surprising though. Well, is it though? It's not. It's not surprising that a lot of people don't know that story. Right. And are not aware of what that trauma is. And I just, for one, I just don't need any more Black trauma on the screen. We're not always in trauma.
Exactly.
we go to the beach. Like, like we go on vacation, we go to school, we get married, we fall in love, we do all the things. We not in trauma all the time. And y'all could have left that alone. Are you gonna go see it? Ooh, yes, the way you communicated with your eyes. Okay.
So here's the thing, like, and I say this all the time, like, whew, where do I even begin? Let me just say that, like, I'm very grateful for the way that I grew up, and I think that because of the family that I had, I mean, I think it's regardless of that, but I had a grandmother who traveled the world, a grandmother who did teaching and assisted with students that were special needs and things like that. Like my dad, like I have so many different perspectives. Had grandfathers that fought in all kinds of wars, and so a lot of the stories they told me gave me a perspective of Blackness that was not stereotypical.
Mm-hmm.
And even the books that I was given to read as a child, I remember one of my favorite of all time, Mafaro's Beautiful Daughters.
Oh, okay.
And it's a story, in Africa of these two sisters, and it's almost like a twist on the Cinderella story, but it's so rich in the culture, and you see the landscape, and you see like all this beauty of the city and these people and their skin, like it's. And I just remember that was my perspective. It was like, I'm not just one thing. Or it could be a book like The Snowy Day, by Ezra Jack Keats. Like there were so many different perspectives that I'm very grateful for that I had the chance to be exposed to and told about. So I never felt like, even watching movies like Vampire in Brooklyn, I think now it's crazy to think like, like that was a film about Black vampires. And even that is not something you really, you see, like there was just a wider range. All the sitcoms that would come on, all the music videos, all the, that was a great time. And it was a great time to grow up as a child and see all that representation. And with that, I was taught about the reality of our experiences also, that there are things that we've gotten past. I think not long after I was born, we had the whole riots, and that was on a different world. Like we've been through negative experiences, and I don't think we ever need to dismiss that or try to erase it, especially when these textbooks try to say like, oh, they were traded, they were like servants and they got to come over. No, we're not doing that. Exactly. But I think I was fine. I think because I've had my own experiences throughout life that maybe were a little traumatic, I think there were times where I was fine watching those kind of films because you get the idea that we're supposed to learn. We're supposed to know, and this is important. We need to represent and all that kind of stuff. We need to show up and let our stories be told. But then you look at Hollywood and you look at the stories. We shift from things like Eve's Bayou and those kind of stories, and the Inkwell and all of those, and then we start getting into like, okay, we have police brutality stories now, and we have slavery stories, and we have civil rights. But where's this wide disparity of stories about Black people who traveled the world, or who were like I mentioned in, I think it was A Cook of Castamar. There's a story. There's this book called The Black Tudors, and it's about Black people who existed in the time of King Henry VIII. There was a trumpeter who literally served in a royal procession in both like I think the death of one and the coronation of his son. Like sailors, merchants, like all kinds of stuff. So anyway, my point is simply that when you have that kind of experience and you see stories that kind of center around the same thing all the time, it becomes extremely frustrating. I did a review on Them. I want to say that was 2021. And that is still today my most intense review, because I watched that series and I was so through. Like I was sick to my stomach, and I was like, I need to know who I need to pull up on. I need to know who's gonna meet me outside. Who do I need to get on the phone with, write a letter to? I was like, oh my gosh, like it was just so brutal. And my issue is, Black trauma is one thing. That's life. That's all of us have trauma and are Black in some way or another. that's kind of inescapable in some ways, even though there's more to us than that. But if you are going to tell a story about Black trauma, understand that there's what is the takeaway? What is the catharsis? What's the deeper insight? What does this mean going forward? How do we like subvert this so that it's not just about, because to me, it was about like, this is the story of how racism works, but then you just are showing all this dehumanization and brutalization. I mean, we talking like, so like stuff I did not need to have in my
trapped in it now. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it was the craziest thing. And so in that review, because I almost saw the wrong side of me when I was initially going to record it. But basically, I just make a whole point about how there are so many layers to the Black experience and that we need to give voice to that. And Hollywood is not always going to be the ones to do that. So we really should be telling our own stories regardless. But, there needs to be room for, like so much dimension, and I know that because I was raised with that. So I know that it's not just this. Maybe for people who maybe only have one perspective, it's harder to see it. Like, it's still important. Like when people told me I needed to watch When They See Us, I'm like, why? I know the story. I know the experience. Even if I didn't know the
expressions are hilarious. I'm sorry. Your face is just so expressive.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm very expressive with my face. Yeah. But yeah, I was just like, but it was just like, people just kept pushing them, like, this is what we need to know, and we need to, I was just like, why? Because even if I didn't know I already know the specifics of the story, I know the story regardless, because it's a story that is reverberated throughout history.
Tale as old as time.
Yeah. And it's like, do you want, and a lot of like people don't realize, you do know people can internalize those things. And those things can kind of just sit with you and kind of sit in your spirit. And that's why I said I had to make more efforts to watch things that are, more uplifting and more positive. Because I think I got accustomed to watching that kind of stuff. And it was like, this is important. I remember I was watching Birth of a Nation. I went in to watch that film, the one that I think Nate Parker did. Yeah. I was in the theater. I'm sitting there eating my popcorn. It's this scene. All I'm going to say is this man had like some kind of, what do you call that? Some kind of wrench or something like that. He told the slave to open his mouth. And as soon as I realized what was happening, I like put my head down and I heard this horrible crunching noise happening. And I looked at my face, I was down. And so I'm looking at my popcorn. I'm like, am I really in a theater eating popcorn, like watching this like it's entertainment? Yeah. So that was my first kind of like, oh, okay. So at this point, I'm sorry, that was a long tangent, but basically, Till and all those, maybe there's room for people who don't know the stories. I'll give them that. But there's no room for me to know anymore. If I know the story, if I know the reality, if I get it already, what sense does it make for me to sit and watch the experience of this young Black boy have his life thrown away on the lies of this woman and these men, like, yeah.
I agree. All of that, all of the things, agree 100%. And I just feel like it will be like the story is even more, it will be made even more traumatizing to actually see it played out in front of you. And we will not know what the scene where he is taken and the events that transpire after that. We don't know. Are they going to be very graphic about it? Are they just going to allude to it? How are they going to do it? And going into it, not knowing that would make me, because I'm not going to see it, very uncomfortable. And I just feel like it's just, at this point, it's unnecessary, because you can tell, that's a land of make-believe. If you wanted to make a story about Black people who grew wings on their backs and started a company that donated, like, whatever you wanted to do, like, you can do it, but you don't have to circle back to things that are still fresh from 50 years ago. And just give me something new. Give me more stories. Give me, tell me about, dig in the crates and give me some information about this fantastic Black person that I didn't know existed in the world, and tell me his amazing story and let it inspire me. Give me like something the Lord made or something like that, something on that line instead of Till, because I can't do the trauma. You gonna it's along the lines to how I feel about a horror movie. I'm about to pay you so you can scare me. So I'm gonna pay you so that you can traumatize me. What kind of fool am I? What kind of fool do you think I am? Is what I should say.
And that's the thing. Like these are the original horror stories, if we're going to be honest.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. Real life horror stories.
Exactly.
Real life horror stories.
Hey, Elliot, what's going on, man? I wasn't expecting you to pop up here. It's good to see you.
Elliot.
Have you checked out Elliot's channel before?
Fully subscribed. I didn't know his name was Elliot though, so I got I know his name, but yes, I am fully subscribed. Also got the bell on as well. Y'all go follow Struggle Reviews TV. Sorry, and Movie Files if you haven't, and hit that bell for them as well. Are they gonna call for justice for Emmett Till at the end of the movie? Otherwise, the movie is just torch porn.
I think we know the answer to that.
You know what? I'm not even about to give no, because my mood is changing. I can feel my.
Oh, it is because I feel like my whole. But see, that's what I'm saying. That's a good example of what I'm talking about. We're just talking about it, and our whole. It's know, it's changed.
They had me finish editing that movie yet, and it's got my nerves bad. So I'm not even. We're gonna move on. So so speaking of a story though that is the opposite of what that was, Into the Spider-Verse, the second installment. I'm very excited to see teenage Miles Morales with his little taper and his little curly bop on the top doing his stuff. And I'm excited because that's one of the first movies, the first Into the Spider-Verse that I took my oldest to see. And it was his first like obsession with the movie. We had to go see it like 4 times in the movie. So I'm excited to see that with him again, like to see the next movie, the upcoming Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse movie with him and experience that with him because he's much older now. So that's gonna be good. And I love that animation style. It's just so beautiful to watch. I'm looking forward to that as well. I don't know much about it. Do I? I don't think I do. No, I don't. But it doesn't matter because I'm gonna go see it anyway.
Yeah, I was gonna say the first Into the Spider-Verse was like a real surprise for me. And again, not like I went in thinking it was gonna be bad or weak, but it's just kind of like, okay, this is like an animated, and I know who Miles Morales was. So I'm like, okay, so it's gonna be interesting seeing like this character come to life. And then it was just so, and it's crazy to think that we have all this multiverse stuff now, but that was kind of the first peek into that, and it didn't really have anything to do really with everything we're seeing now, but that was the first kind of glimpse. And so seeing all these different Spider-Man, and seeing the Green Goblin, and seeing all the variations of these villains and all that, and I loved because I think when I saw the trailer, the style of it, I was like and I think it's because when you become used to like Pixar and a certain kind of CGI kind of style, it's like it felt jarring at first, just as far as the trailer. And then watching it, I'm like, this feels like a comic book. Like, the style of, like, if you look at, certain comic books, I'm like, this feels like I'm inside of a comic book right now.
Yeah.
And I walked away like really loving it. I think that was one of my favorites of the year, and I probably wouldn't have expected that beforehand.
Yeah, it was beautiful. And I don't know, just something about that. Well, I know exactly why. Something about that movie has a special place in my heart because, as a kid, that's where I spent a lot of my time, because New Orleans in the 90s was a hot mess. Not that it's not now, okay? But I wanted to do things and like have like activities and stuff. But my mom was like, no, you're not going over here because they're gonna fight. No, you're not going over there because they're gonna start shooting. No, you're not gonna. So one of the things that I could do was go to the movies. Right. And I would spend all day in the movies, and I loved it. And now that movie is what did the same thing. Like, it exposed my son to loving movies. And so it has a special place in my heart. He's on anime now, so he's not on movies. And I'm not mad at anime, but I got to get him back on. I got to get him back into the cinema. Okay. But so yeah, it has a special place in my heart, and just him being able to see a character, a main character that looked like him, because he's tall and skinny with a little curly bop. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And so, prior to that, all of the things that he had seen on TV and in movies looked nothing like him. He enjoyed the movies. He enjoyed seeing Thor. He enjoyed seeing whatever. But that was the first time he really connected with the movie. So it has a really special place in my heart. So, and now, I'm gonna take his brothers to see it, and we're gonna like make a thing out of it. And so yeah, that's it's gonna be good for me, and I'm really excited to experience that with my little boy.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Elliot. I totally get that because, like I said, I would not have seen that just hopping up and kind of knocking out all these other Spider-Man films. But there's a lot that I appreciate about it too. So I totally get that, and I'm really excited to see. Oh, what was the name? Let me make sure. Oh, I was interested in seeing. Do you remember who they showed at the end of Into the Spider-Verse?
Me, Miguel,
Yeah, yeah, you got it.
Miguel, am I right?
Yeah, you got it.
Yeah,
Yeah. Spider-Man 2099.
2099. Yeah, Miguel O'Hara.
Yeah, that's him.
I got one.
Yeah,
I'm bad with names.
yeah. So so even where they're gonna go with that character, because I've only seen glimpses of that character. I know his name, I know some things about him, but I don't know everything. So just even seeing how they're gonna expect, kind of flesh that character out, I'm really excited about.
Yeah, it's gonna be good. Shout out to Shamik Moore. I love his voice. He's the perfect voice for girl. It's for Spider-Man. I'm sorry, my dog about to knock my table over. You got anything else on your list, cousin?
Yes, and Elliot, please let us know because I know you've done your kind of most anticipated videos, but even let us know if there are any you're interested in checking out for the rest of this year. I was gonna say I'm really as far as a series, just briefly to bring it back horror-ish, Interview with the Vampire.
Yeah.
Yeah, the series that's coming out. It has what's my name? What's Jacob Anderson from Game of Thrones. He played oh my gosh, Miss Sunday. What was her?
Grey Worm.
Huh?
I mean, not Grey Worm.
Grey Worm. Yes. Is
that Grey Worm?
I don't know why my brain just went blank.
Because I don't remember.
I was so mad because it was just there a second ago. Yes, it is Grey Worm. Okay, I'm not crazy. But yes, he's going to be playing Lewis. In the new Interview with the Vampire, and it's going to be kind of because they're moving it forward to like the early 1900s. The original story took place in the 1700s. Claudia is a little bit older. There are a lot of things that people aren't going to like about the changes, which I understand, especially if you're someone who is attuned to the book and you have certain images in your mind of what they should look like, or even if your only experience is the original film from like the early 90s with Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise and Kirsten Dunst. So I get it because I love Interview with the Vampire, and I saw that when I was a little younger, and it definitely was another exposure to vampires along with Vampire in Brooklyn, which was creepy and disturbing, but I kind of thought it was cool at the same time. And I think the thing about Interview with the Vampire, that highlights more of the tragedy of the vampire experience. We see them as these scary creatures, but they're actually very tragic. And you see kind of a sadder side to what does it mean when you can't die and when your life is relegated to this thing, And even Claudia, I have a lot more, because I think when I was young, I thought it was cool, but I see more of the tragedy of being
so
stuck
sad
in a child's form, and then everything about you that should reflect something pure and innocent as a child is like, no, I'm this monster basically. And I'm stuck with this. So so I'm really excited.
Are they going to have where it's going to be, the location? Are they changing that as well, or
No, I think it's still in New Orleans.
Okay.
Yeah, I believe.
I know you said there were some things that they weren't going to like, and I was like, that might, if they change the location, people might be upset about that. But okay.
Yeah. Let me see. I think it's still there, but I think a lot of it's going to come down to what people expect and what they're used to, and I'm willing to be okay with that. I think if it's told well enough, if they come with it as far as what these changes are going to be, then I can roll with it. If they botch it, it's going to be like, well, you just wasted everybody's time. So.
And an opportunity, like leave things alone. Like if you're not going to kill it, leave them where they lying at. Like, leave it alone. Don't bring it. Don't bring it back up. Get us excited for it, and then it's trash.
Yeah.
You just waste your time and ours. But
Yeah.
you know what? When it comes out, I already know that the vampire tours down here are gonna spike because they already have a vampire tour damn near every hour on the hour at night in the French Quarter. So once that drops, you should come down here if you need a little side hustle and do you a vampire tour, and you could be the tour guide because all the people gonna come. I'm telling you, especially like now, like this part of the year, like spooky season.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy. Everybody comes to see vampire haunts and whatever. But yeah, I'm excited for that one too. And I actually forgot about that. So I'm glad you reminded me of that. That's gonna be. When is it coming out?
I believe it's October.
Okay, perfect. Perfect timing. It's great.
Yeah,
Spooky
exactly.
season. Looking forward to the Atlanta final season. Why you look? What? Give me. Did you watch Atlanta? What? Cousin, I. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Yeah, it was a tough watch for you, girl. I'm not even gonna lie to you. It was a tough one for me, and it made me question myself. Like, I was like, am I smart enough to watch this? I don't.
Oh, no.
Me? Am I the villain? Because I don't understand what's happening here. Like, I had to. I guess if I took a deeper look, like with Atlanta, there are things that you have to kind of think about. Like, it's
Yeah.
on surface level, you can watch it and it'll be entertaining, but there are themes and messaging within it that you have to kind of dig for and kind of understand. But I was like, I don't know if I wasn't prepared to dig that deep because I don't know I'm confused about what's happening. But season the final season of Atlanta, I'm hopeful for it. I got high hopes. I'm gonna go back over there and hopefully they won't make my nerves bad like they did with this last one.
Yeah. I have to admit, I haven't seen Atlanta, and it's simply because of that. I told you, Elliot. I don't know if you were here earlier, but I've said this to a lot of people where it's just like in the last 10 years, there was a time where it was just Netflix, and then all of a sudden there was Hulu, and all of a sudden it was like boom, 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 boom. So me trying to kind of like having all this content to kind of search through and try to find, and like, because Stranger Things, even like I was excited to watch Stranger Things, and then as I was starting to check, then I was like, oh wait, but you got to watch this show. Oh wait,
right.
This show.
You got distracted.
Yeah, it's really hard, but I know I need to, as I kind of can carve out some time, I need to kind of be up to date so I can kind of know what's going on with certain shows and not be out of the loop, because I feel like I'm in the loop, and then some of the stuff I watch is kind of under the radar, which is not a bad thing, but I'm still out the loop. So
yeah. I know the Teddy Perkins episode of Atlanta, I don't remember what season it was, is like one of my favorite episodes of TV. Like I couldn't, like I got like it like something about it. I watched it over and over and over and over again. I can't, and it probably had something to do with the picture with Donald Glover and Issa Rae, and then Teddy Perkins was behind him, and that was funny to my whole soul. But something about that episode, I really, really I am a fan of Atlanta, but this past season.
And I heard that from some people where it was kind of like up and down as far as like some people were like, oh, this is great. And some people were like, what is this? So yeah. And Elliot, see, this is a good example of why I need to be caught up because then offers like this won't completely like pass me by because I haven't watched it. But I will at least
have to lock yourself in a room and catch up.
That's what I'm gonna have to do. I'm gonna have to like get all the way through, and then I can hop in and be like, well, guys, I have a refresher of everything.
Here are my thoughts. I would love to, though. I think that would be great. And I've been talking to my good cousin D about collaborating more and getting outside of my comfort zone and doing more. So I would love to do that. I think that would be fun. But I do cuss, so just be aware of that. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if that's an issue for you, but it just comes out and I don't really know it until after it comes out. So just, let me know what you think about it and then we can go and, do that. But
Yeah, we got to make sure you don't get demonetized.
yeah, we don't want that because that would be terrible, right? And I know I would feel bad. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna try my best. And I do try to not curse. It just I'm really good at it though. I'm really, really good at it. So I feel like I should just lean into my strengths, but I definitely will, curb that for the online, for the interwebs. All right, let's see. It's joining. This one-off episode should have been an Atlanta anthology series about race relations and not involve the main characters. And you know what else I didn't like about this past season? I enjoyed the because they were in Europe this past season in Amsterdam and Paris, I think maybe. But I really enjoy seeing them in Atlanta. Like I really liked seeing Atlanta and um hearing and that whole thread of them being in Atlanta and that experience, and when they took them out of that, it felt a little off to me. In the episode, there was an episode with Brian Tyree Henry, and it was like a, don't worry about it, cousin, because you don't know what about anyway. But and I know that they're gonna be in it. I think they're gonna be in Atlanta for the upcoming season. So
Yeah, hopefully they are. They should.
I hope so, man. Because goodness gracious.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you know what that reminds me of? Have you ever watched Weeds?
From back in the day with Sarah, with Mary Louise Parker?
Yeah.
I did. Yeah.
Yeah. Weeds was like my show. I loved Weeds, and the concept of it was crazy. It's like it's just the suburban mom, and it's like, oh, how can I make money? Ooh, guess what? And then it's like all this suburban shenanigans and all the stuff going on, all these interesting characters, and her being deep in this world of drug dealing.
Right.
And to me, at the end of season 3, once a certain something burned down, and it's like, oh, now we're in Mexico. I was like, I'm out.
Yeah. I think I watched it until she had the baby. I think she had a baby for the man, and then something, and she was smart. I don't know. It just got to be like a lot. I was like, girl, you have poor decision making skills, my baby. Exactly. You need to do something. You are a mother, okay? You need to do something different with yourself. But yeah, that was a good time, and I miss those kind of back in the day shows. I might have to do some rewatches because I used to really like these. I used to really like Nurse Jackie, like The Sopranos, like that kind of thing. I miss that, like that when you ain't really had that many options, right? Exactly. You had like HBO, Sunday night HBO was my jam. Like don't you call me on Sunday because you will get ignored. Sorry, mom. My bad. I will call you at about 10 o'clock because I gotta process my thoughts. Okay. And that whole era of TV watching, yeah, man. I think we passed that. We just got to overload. It's just so much that we have access to, and that's not always a good thing,
right?
So
trying to keep up. But I will say, as far as Elliot and the discussions, I've been on a couple of times for Euphoria, and it was a good time because especially with this last season, there was a lot we had to talk about. Man. So I think you will definitely enjoy yourself for these conversations.
Rue took me down this past season for Euphoria. I was just too through with Rue. I couldn't believe it. But and that last season was kind of I don't know. It just left me with a lot of questions, and that disturbs my spirit. Like if you don't wrap things up for me, like, or at least give me some kind of inclination that you will be wrapping it up and kind of give me like a little something. Woo, that season was very traumatizing to my whole soul. I was like, I'm not sending my children to high school. They're gonna get their diploma in the catalog, in the mail, or through some kind of digital service. Because if this is what actually happens in high school, I'm confused. I went to a very small high school and it was all Black, and we didn't have, it was very, girl, we live together. We live together, dog. I see you every day. All right. Won't you just relax? Just relax. I'm talking to your cousin. Man, I'm sorry.
But I will say the same thing. It's like I can't speak to everybody's experience. I understand how media portrays high school. I was just having a conversation with somebody about how I thought high schoolers looked grown, and I
Oh my
assumed
God,
like we would
yes.
all be grown when we got into high school. I'm like, we all still look like kids, but that's because they literally hire like younger, like adult people
Yeah,
for like high
yeah,
school roles. I
25,
didn't get
yeah.
yeah, and so I understand that I'm not saying it's not possible, but I'm like, that wasn't my experience. I didn't see no pill popping and orgies, and
Right.
I mean, it's a lot. I'm
Yeah.
telling you that first, because I remember I was interested in watching this because of what is that called? I started watching this because I saw there was this they had this image. HBO will do the here's what's coming this year, and
Hmm.
whatever year it was, Euphoria was supposed to come out. At the beginning, they just showed Zendaya, and then they showed like that scene where the hallway contorts and she
Yeah.
starts to like fall. And I was like,
Honestly,
what
yeah.
is this? And so I checked it out. I'm thinking, oh, this is like some kind of teenage, drama. I'm sure it's not going to be anything too crazy. I'm forgetting this is HBO.
Right.
I and let me just say very quickly, we're all different people, but I have probably seen enough sausages on screen from one episode of Euphoria to last me the rest of my life. I was like, oh no, what is happening?
Yeah, it was a lot of tents and poles in the tent. I was like, damn, yeah, it was a lot. And you know what's a trip is that I always when I talk about Euphoria with people and say like Zendaya's name, the first thought that pops into my mind is that she jumped from Disney Channel to Euphoria. And I just cannot believe that. Like, I wonder if they told her, like, like, you know what I mean? Like, if they actually told her what was gonna be, like, how it was gonna actually end up. Like, if she thought it was gonna be like a high school, like, yeah, I'm a drug addict, and yeah, these things happen. Or did they tell her, no, baby, you about to be in hell for like 4 years?
Basically.
Like, everybody, you gonna be dealing with real traumatic stuff because there's really not a social issue. Well, I can't say that, but most social issues that the general public is aware of are covered in that show. It's like
Right.
they're not missing nothing. And it's like I'm not letting my teenager watch that show. I don't know. I don't want you to get I don't just don't even go over there. Don't even watch that. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I was gonna say, oh, who?
Who we talking about Rue?
Who were we talking about?
Who
Sorry, John. Let us know who you're talking about. I think we were talking so much we
I
forgot.
know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I think
Yeah,
yeah, I think it's
Demi
too
and
much.
I are the same age. No, I'm a little older than Alexa Demi, who plays Maddie. Maddie
Mm.
is 34. She's 30,
Oh,
34
see, I
years
didn't
old.
know that.
Yeah. Yep.
Wow. She's
Yeah.
older than me. Wow.
She's at least 34, I believe. And everybody else is 25 years old. So, you know, I don't know if I want Rue to go to college. She gonna die.
Oh
She's
Lord.
going to die. Like, unless like she and then she gotta. Yeah, Rue stresses my soul out. I need somebody that, and I said this in my review. I need a wellness check on Gia. Somebody have to check on Gia because that baby needs some support. Nobody's looking at Gia, and Gia gonna be right up next to Rue if they don't pay attention, and they're not paying
Exactly.
attention to Gia. Storm Reed plays the hell out of Gia because I really was trying. I'm trying to go. I was trying to DM Storm Reed and ask her if she was okay. Because
Yes.
man,
And the thing is, it's so, and not just, and I think, yeah. So it's interesting because these are completely different spectrums on storytelling, even though the setting is the same. But it is so interesting to watch Degrassi while I was in high school, and then go to watching this, kind of in the college years or postgraduate and all that, and it's just like, ooh, like did I dodge some bullets or what? Like,
man, listen. And see, Degrassi was after that was like my sister's age range. Like you and my sister are probably the same age, and that was her. So I never watched Degrassi. I don't know what the hell I was watching, child. I was probably at the House of Blues. I don't know what I was doing.
You said
But
House of Blues.
I was probably at the House of Blues. But yeah, like I know like high school dramas, when I was in high school, it was like Dawson's Creek. It was like that kind of thing. It wasn't like let's go do some fentanyl and I'm also a drug dealer and a sex worker and my daddy died and I also don't go to school. I need a like it wasn't that. It was like will they won't they? Like love triangles, you know what I mean? Like somebody's mom lost their job. But now it's like I'm about to go to the strip club. I clock in at 1 and I got a math test in the morning. So don't talk to me. Like, damn.
Yeah.
Goodness gracious.
Yeah. I was gonna no. It's a hard sell for anybody because it's just such. I've said again, 20. I knew it was gonna be a minute, especially, and that's the thing. These shows, it happened with Atlanta too, because we mentioned Atlanta. But when these actors become big and they land all these big movies, because I think did that happen with Atlanta season 2?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Donald
it was
Glover
like
he got
yeah,
Star
the amount
Wars.
of time. Yeah, same thing with Insecure. Issa Rae started booking all these movies, and the same thing with this. Everybody's doing stuff. So that, and then Zendaya. Even if we just talking about Zendaya, let alone everybody else, they are booked. So I know it's going to be a couple of years for sure.
And
But
you
I
know
would
who was
like
the standout for me on Euphoria was my boy Coleman Domingo. Do you know how much I love what's his name on the show? I know his government name, but don't know his character's name. Rue Sponsor.
Yeah.
Um
I got you.
anyway, I love him. I think he is Ali. I love Ali in Euphoria. He was a standout for me. I just love, and I think it's just because I love Coleman Domingo as an actor. He's so cool, and he has a way of being. He has a way of making me see Coleman Domingo in every character he plays. Like I can see him as like a man. I don't know if that makes sense, but he's just awesome to me, and I really enjoyed the it made me think of the episode with he and Rue at the diner, like the little side episode, and his portrayal this season, of really being on Rue shit and just being like, listen, I know you're a dolphin and I get it, okay, cool, but you're gonna watch how you talk to me now. All right now. Like let's get it together. Like you gonna end up dead. I'm trying to save your life, but if you don't want to do it, like he was really great to me this season, and he's a great actor, and he's so handsome, and he got a mustache. I don't know. I don't usually like mustaches. They need to connect to something, but I like his mustache. That's a 2 thumbs up for me.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Coleman Domingo just has some kind of swagger about him. I think,
yeah,
he just has it. I'm like, if I could get that from somebody, I need to learn.
yeah.
I need to learn from him. And I think the Butler. I think that was the first time I saw him.
Okay.
And what's so cool is that he has such a. I feel like his personality or his vibe or maybe his look, like it works for modern stories, but he can like jump into any period piece and work. Like he's done The Butler, he's done Selma. He just did. He's doing a film about. I think it was one of MLK's like right hand men, and he was gay and everything, and so it was important as far as that story being told and what he contributed to Martin Luther King's march and his team and all that. I was forgetting one. Ma Rainey's Black Bottom.
And Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. Yep.
Yeah,
that's another one. I ain't gonna be able to see him in that one because Chadwick is in it. I can't go back. I gotta let it go. And he was so frail in it. And now I know, why he was frail and him screaming at the Lord. And I know definitely I forgot all about that scene. I will not be going back over there. No, can't do that. That's a hard pass.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
Hard pass. Yeah. That was a great movie though. Viola Davis did her thing for sure. I'm blessed that I didn't grow up. I'm not gonna say that. I'm blessed that I am growing up now, because all I kept thinking about when I watched Ma Rainey, real surface level, is their asses was hot. I can't stand being hot. People would hate me because I would be so grumpy all the time. They sweat through that whole movie. Everybody was shiny. I was like, damn, y'all. I just felt so blessed to just have central air conditioning everywhere I go. It's really not a place unless I'm like outside at a park that I don't have central heating and air. And I just am blessed for that. I just want to just have a little praise break for central heating and air because won't he do it? Okay.
And it gets worse the further you go back.
Yeah, man.
Like you go back to like when I think about King Henry and the medieval folks and all the layers they'd be wearing, even in the summer. I was like, how?
Right. And the fact that there's nowhere, there's no sanitation. You just be throwing stuff out the window. So you walk around in this heavy gown and it's just crusted at the bottom.
Woo!
It's a blessing. It's a blessing. I'm blessed and highly favored. Yeah.
Listen, the Black Plague, the bubonic plague happened before a reason. Okay.
I listen. Ain't no way. I keep hand sanitizer, soap on me at all times. It's just we're not gonna go there. Cause see, we was about to get on a tangent. We was gonna start talking about stuff. That's not on topic. We're gonna stay on topic, cousin. Rest in peace to Chadwick for sure. Curious on how you both feel about Marvel's decision to not recast T'Challa. We talked about that earlier. I'm gonna let you take that, cousin.
Why?
I'm gonna let you take it first.
Okay, I'm gonna say this. I see it both ways, and I'm not doing the Switzerland BS thing. I genuinely do see it both ways. I understand why you wouldn't recast because of Chadwick's stamp on that role and how it could, the optics of saying, okay, we need somebody else, bye Chadwick. You know, not that that would be anyone's, I don't believe that would be anyone's heart, but I think I understand how jacked up the optics of that would look. Yeah. And it's still very fresh and it's still very raw. So I could understand making that announcement and saying that. I do think at some point, and some people are tying this into it being kind of a misogynistic thing, like, oh, you only want to see a man. Maybe some people do. No, for me, I would like eventually to see some other I mean, we're in the midst of the multiverse.
Yeah.
It would be interesting to see what another variation of T'Challa would look like, if only just for all the stories that can come with that character and with everyone else. It's not one or the other for me. And it's not a thing where it's like, oh no, it's only women and what are we gonna do? You know, like it's not that deep for me. Some people like really are sensitive to that kind of stuff. And I'm like, I didn't grow up like that and I don't have that kind of mindset.
Right.
But I would like to see some kind of way to connect that piece because T'Challa is still very much a part of this world. And I want to see how those stories continue to be told, even if we're talking about, you know, stuff like Aurora/Storm factoring in, you know, like it could be so many things that we can tell and go from. So,
yeah. I mean, I agree. Very surface level. My opinion is that if they recast him, we as a fandom, not we as in me and you, but as a fandom, you can't win with that in that position. You can't come behind Chadwick Boseman and just be T'Challa. Like there are certain characters that we know and we are connected to. And if you try to go and replace, I don't know, I just was watching it last night, Sylvester Stallone in Rocky 2 with Al Pacino, that shit not gonna work. It's not gonna work. We are invested in seeing this character and we know, and you know, that whole thing. That's very surface level. What I feel like is that the general consensus would be that they wouldn't be able to win, even if they gave a great performance. And it's been done before. I mean, they got 12 Batmans right now.
Right.
But I just think because of the significance of what Black Panther was, that would be almost impossible shoes to fill, especially this close. Like, you know what I mean? Like, with Batman, we had a little break between Batmans. Like we had some years between our Batmans, and it wasn't, because, Michael Keaton, passed away, unfortunately, and we had to, whatever, the circumstances are very different this go round. But with that being said, I see it as a unique opportunity for Marvel to do something different that's, outside of the source material, and to be creative and to be innovative with their storytelling. And I wouldn't be mad if it was a woman. But it has to be the kind of the the woman who they, if that was the route that they went, it has to be a woman that I could believe would be able to do the job. Like,
Yes.
don't you get, like, just picture Michelle Williams from Destiny's Child as the new Black Panther. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm sure she's a great, you know what I mean? Like, it has to be the right person for the job. So I don't know. And to be quite honest, I waver on my opinion with the recast of Child Movement, because
Yeah.
part of me is like, nah, you got to keep it going. This is too important. We got to keep, the stuff, because there's so much stuff. And like you were saying with Storm, and they got married and they had a baby, and like, it's all kinds of things. But then on the other hand, I'm like, man, give somebody else a shot. So today, I don't know what I feel today. Tomorrow, you could check in with me and I'll give you another answer. I don't know. It's a tough spot to be in, though, for sure, because you're gonna piss people off either way.
Yeah.
So,
Exactly.
maybe they could do a prequel, and that way they can grow the fandom out of the grief by going with the kid. Like, you mean like a teenager, or like starting like from like a little baby child?
Yeah, I think they mean. I'm guessing what that means. Like if they did, and I think maybe it's. Oh, I think it's different from what Elliot is saying in the next one. But I think what Seth is saying, like if they were to somehow explore T'Challa's origins in Wakanda with his dad, with the Queen Mother, and like what that was like, because for the longest it was it was before Wakanda was exposed to the world.
Right.
So it'd be interesting to see like what were the stories within that time. What was it like for him growing up and growing into that role? So I can kind of see that. It's like we get a chance to kind of experience that character again, but it's kind of without the loss part of it and all this other stuff that has happened.
Yeah. It just kind of makes me sad too. And it's, obviously it's nobody's fault. Because this was just a tragic circumstance, but it's just it highlights, it's so raw, and it just highlights what a loss it really, really is.
Right.
Because I'm telling you, it could have been Black Panther 9, and I'd have been teed up and ready to go, because I knew Chadwick Boseman was gonna deliver. Like, it was gonna, even if the script was bad, he was gonna act his ass off. And like, you know what I mean? Like, I, it's just such a loss. And this is actually really my first time verbalizing my thoughts about it. Because I haven't even talked to people about it. Because I'm telling you, cousin, the news hit and I cried for 3 solid days. It was so strange to me, because that's not happened to me before. And then my mama was like, girl, that's how we was when Martin Gaye died.
Oh, well, that's what my mom tells me.
Oh my God. Like, you know what I mean? And it's like, I just, it's just so raw to me still. And it kind of is upsetting a little bit to even think about that recast, like the recasting conversation. But because the role is so important, you have to have, like, it's a conversation we have to have. Like, we can't just let it lie. We can't just let it die and fall away to the wayside. And then from a business aspect, Marvel not gonna let it die and go. You know what I mean? That would never be the case. But you know what? Thank you, cousin, to provide this opportunity for me to verbalize my thoughts, because I sure kept it internalized, because nobody was talking about it with me. I was all alone.
Yeah. No, I understand, but it was the same thing for me. Like everyone, and that's why I say the trailer kind of gave me some relief, because no matter who brought it up, as soon as I heard Wakanda, I'm out. No. Moving on.
Yeah.
So it's good that it's good that we're in a space where we can talk about it. And yes, there's still some frustration, some resentment, some hurt, and some loss, grief. All that is there. But I'm glad to have a lot more hope, because 2 years ago, I was like, I'm out on all of it. And as far as what Elliot said about the Wakanda series, I kind of agree with that. I think that I don't know if you, Elliot, or you, LB, I don't know if you've seen I don't know if you've ever watched Spartacus on Blood and Sand on Stars.
Mm-mm.
Okay. So it's basically kind of like this gladiator type series. It's a guy who ends up being sold into slavery, and then he's forced to fight in these, he's kind of a slave to these rich people. He has to fight in these, gladiator type battles.
Okay.
And it's a very sexually explicit, very bloody, graphic show. Very, kind of new for a lot of people, but not me, because I had already watched Rome on HBO. So
Oh
this,
Lord.
I
Yeah.
already understood all that.
Yeah.
So, and really by comparison, some of the stuff they did in Spartacus felt a lot more like cartoonish. Like, oh, it's like they took 300, the film
Mhm.
300. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, let's kind of go with this aesthetic.
Okay.
But what made the show work was kind of the storytelling and the characters. There was more to it than just that. Well, it was a really standout first season. Everyone loved it, got a lot of acclaim. We're about to do the second season. The star of the show ends up getting this rare disease.
Mhm.
So they're thinking, okay, well, he's going to get better, and then we'll shoot the second season. So they did a prequel series, and it was Gods of the Arena. So we see everything that led up to, this home, the gladiator fights, like how was this world established? And it was good. But then he ended up passing away.
Mhm.
So they had to recast because it's we have to continue the story. And it was a lot of controversy, maybe not as much compared to this. This is a little bit different, especially Marvel, Black Panther, the Black community, Chadwick. It was a little bit different, but
Yeah.
the actor, it was the same kind of tragic circumstances. And I
Yeah.
think there was a lot of kind of pushback on whether there should be a recast or not. And they ended up doing it. And I think the guy they went with was fine. It wasn't bad. And the rest of the seasons were fine, but it was kind of the same thing. At least there was, with Gods of the Arena, there was kind of a reset a little bit to kind
Yeah.
of forget, kind of, and then kind of circle back around. So I
Yeah.
kind of get what Elliot is saying, and then of course seeing like that the whole gap with the blip, what did go on
Yeah.
during this time, what kinds of stories went on and amongst the people in the town, or the people and society and all that. Yeah.
Yeah. I find it well, first before I say what I was gonna say, should I watch Spartacus?
You might.
What?
Let me say this: if you don't care, I mean, when I say care, I mean we watch all kinds of stuff. So I'm not saying like, oh my gosh, it's so like inappropriate. No, it's just that depending on what type of person you are, it'll either seem really interesting or really cheesy and goofy. And
Mm,
for me, coming from Rome, which was kind of explicit but had more of a grounded approach to the way it told the story, this felt like y'all are really trying to appeal to like, you know, all these, I don't know, all the folks who like 300, who's into like, who need a bunch of showy over the top stuff. So I
mm,
would say it's worth watching. I think you might like it, but just understand that piece. You may be
yeah,
here for that, or you may not be here for
okay. Because that is one of the channels I have
that.
Star Wars, so I can watch that. So I don't have to do anything extra to get access to that. So I don't know why I haven't watched it, but I have seen it before. And I love a good period piece. You know what I mean? So it's historical time. You know, I used to love Jeremy Iron and
You talking about Borgia?
Borgias. That was my jam. I used to love the Borgias.
Wait, did you see the one on Netflix?
Huh?
Did you see the one that's on Netflix?
What you they got
There's
another
another Borgia.
what?
Yeah,
No, I didn't know that.
it's good. That's actually me personally. Some people may feel differently, but to me, that Borgia blows the other one out the water because
No.
I knew about the Borgias and I knew they were a very controversial, very
Yeah,
jacked up family.
yeah.
And to me, the Netflix one really showcases all of that. Like they show
Ooh.
stuff. That was crazy. Even in the first episode, I was like,
Oh, all right.
yeah.
So is the do they talk about the not the well the with Lucrezia and
I knew
Chesapeake?
you yeah, they do actually. They do.
Okay. All right. So that's great. See, two things in a row. See, cousin, you always come through in the clutch. Okay. Now I got two new. Now, see, but that's a problem though, because I could barely watch the stuff that I want to watch for the channel. Now you done gave me two new things to watch. You just ruined my life, cousin. Terrible. they could write his death into the next role. It starts with his loss, and then people can be on board with what happens next for Wakanda.
I think that's what they're going to do with Wakanda Forever. If I don't know if you've seen the trailer yet, let's say,
Mhm.
but it looks like there's going to be some kind of funeral procession, and we are actually going to deal with the, you know, with the grieving process and the experience of laying him to rest and all that. And then we're gonna obviously other things are gonna happen with Namor and other stuff like that. So
Yeah, yeah. I'm I you know what? I took the day off of work. All right. I took the day off work. The day that what kind of comes out. I took 2 days off. I already put my time in. I already know don't because if I went to see the movie and went to work the next day, don't ask me no questions. Okay. Stop talking to me. I'm not answering your email. What you're talking about is not important. I don't care. So I'm already preparing myself mentally because I think that's the next one up, right? It was supposed to be Thor, and then Wakanda Forever drops in November, I think, right? I
yeah,
think.
that's the next film.
Yeah. So I gotta get my I got a couple months to get my mind right, and then I can move on. But I'm fully prepared to be a wreck for 2 to 3 business days after the movie come out.
Okay, that works.
You watch. Girl, listen, I don't know if you should spend that much time with me. Cousin, you gonna be confused, dazed and confused. But thank you for your support, though. I appreciate it, though.
Yeah, you can never go wrong with LBTV.
Oh Lord, have mercy. My family might disagree because when I watch shows and try to discuss it with them, especially my daddy is in his mid 70s, and everything is aggravating to him. So we get into these big arguments and discussions about things, and I'm like, I don't even. Never mind. That's a tangent too. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
Did you see Jones' comment?
If you can recast Aunt Viv and change her, poor Daphne Maxwell Reed, she just couldn't. She just wasn't. She just couldn't curl all the way over. It never curled for her. It never ever did.
I actually it's weird looking at the stuff I did early on. I'm sure it's the same thing for you. But I did it was like some kind of recap. They did the reunion special on HBO for
Yeah.
Fresh.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I did like a little recap of that back then. And I had kind of touched on the whole Aunt Viv thing. And even now, I mean, it obviously was foul what happened with Janet Hubert. But I
Yeah.
think the bigger issue for me beyond that's one thing. The fact that they completely chopped and screwed the character. And I think that, I don't know if you've seen, there's an episode of Sister Sister that Daphne Maxwell Reed was on. It was like
Yeah.
this, I think ended up being like Ray's supervisor or coworker.
Okay.
But it was when Ray and Lisa, they were starting to kind of, catch some vibes for each other. And then she comes over in like this red dress, all slinky and
Cinched up.
everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she has this real seductive attitude. She's feeling Ray and all that. And it's funny because they've been married for
Right. Ever.
30 years. Yeah,
Yeah.
for like forever. So it's funny seeing them interact. But if you look at her in that role, you can see that had they really cared, they could have really given that character the same kind of energy and spice and vivaciousness and all
Yeah.
that. She's a solid actress, but if you take the character and all of a sudden she's just a homemaker and she's all
Right.
snooty and kind of
Yeah, she had them things was buttoned up to here, child. She had on button down shirts, slacks on. I'm like, damn. Aunt Viv had you ain't see Aunt Viv with the leotard when she did the boom cacks at the class.
exactly.
Like you ain't got to get a lady, let the lady throat breathe. I don't know why they did that to her. That was ridiculous to me, but that's interesting. I'm gonna have to go find it. It's probably on the YouTube somewhere. I'm gonna have to go find that episode because I don't remember that, but I do remember Ray and Lisa at one point. So
yeah, I'll actually send it to you. I'll give you the episode season because they have episodes on Netflix now.
They do. Could you tell us about how each of you got into reviewing movies and TVs? Cousin is a cinephile. Okay, so nah, I can't speak to me, but I know Cousin is a good old cinephile. Cousin be talking about Italian movies and black and white movies and historical pieces and all kind of stuff. So I'm gonna let you take that first, cousin, because cinephile, okay? And I respect it. I'm not even joking though. Like you will talk about reviews in your movie and on this live that I'll be like, damn, let me make sure I jot that down because you have like a little library in here, a little Rolodex.
Oh well, yeah, it's crazy to think about that now. So I'll say, as far as to answer the question, I had a lot of really impactful experiences with films at a young age. Grew up in Gary, Indiana / Chicago, and first I think there's one thing to watch. You had, I watched all kind of movies at the house, but we had, and I was just talking to somebody about this. It was a chain called General Cinemas, and I think AMC, ironically enough, ended up kind of taking over, and then General Cinemas didn't exist anymore. But I loved going to the theater. I loved watching films. I loved how, I don't know, it was just something so, and I think now I know the word escapist, but you don't think about how that starts when you're young. Right. And even before I got into like movies, or maybe around the same time, but I was always a reader. And so like I read I devoured books. So even when in the car, we didn't have all these fancy contraptions. I sound like an old person. But we didn't have all this stuff where you could just watch stuff. Yeah. We didn't have all this where you could watch all the stuff. So like in the car or, at the store or whatever, I would always have like stacked books with me. So that already kind of started my imagination, even kind of moving into books like Goosebumps. Goosebumps didn't have pictures. And so kind of learning how to visualize and see things, kind of stirring the imagination and all that. And so then moving into, the big screen experience and then the small screen experience. It's just that I see so many experiences reflected through film. And in and of itself, they're great experiences. But I think I've learned there's a lot of things I connect to. And I see how, what's the word? Like, it goes beyond just entertainment for me. I think sometimes like I can see myself or my life reflected in that medium sometimes, even with television. Like when I think about Martin is like one of my favorite like sitcoms ever. Yeah. And part of that is because that whole piece of him being on the radio. When I grew up in Chicago and I was, going to school or going here and there and listening to the radio, that was very much a part of my experience. Family Matters. That looked just like my family, like a whole bunch of people in one house, whole bunch of silliness and hijinks going on. So, or if I think about Beauty and the Beast. Beauty and the Beast was impactful for me, one, because I think that was like my first kind of, what's the word? I think we all have moments where childhood kind of begins, and that's like the earliest experience of watching a film, and I felt like it reflected my life as far as kind of like childhood idealism and joy and kind of seeing the sense of magic in life. Yeah. I sound corny, but for me, it started there. And then having a protagonist that sung about books and loved books. And you have this scene where the Beast gives her, the library. And I was like, oh my gosh. Like, it was mind blowing for me. So I think for me, it just kind of just seeing all these experiences of film and just how it's impacted my life in a lot of ways. So if you look at some of my reviews, even like what I mentioned earlier, as far as Fear Street, like when I talk about all the horror books I read growing up, it connects me to that part of my. No, I did not. No, I did not. Thankfully, that was
to Judy. I don't know what happened to Judy. Bless her heart.
They did her wrong, but anyway. But yeah, it's just over time, I got to the point where people enjoyed hearing what I had to say about movies. I started writing at one point, and people kept saying, like, throughout, kind of more so in college, because not so much in high school, but once I kind of started writing and vocalizing more, I got into IMDb and writing the little reviews, and when they still had the forums and hearing what people had to say, getting into conversations about film, that's when it kind of changed. And I ended up, people told me all the time I should do YouTube, and I was like, wasn't confident, didn't think I had the resources. YouTube was very different back then. So I figured there were a lot of things in place to where I didn't think I could do it. So eventually 2020 happened. I didn't have any more excuses. So I was like, let me just give it a shot. Let me do some recaps of Insecure season 4. Then I'm like, okay, I guess I'll do a reaction of the Respect teaser, and then I just kind of built my way up from there.
That's awesome. And I love the fact that you saw yourself in Beauty and the Beast. I've never heard anybody say that. And I think that's so cool. I love that. Because that's one of those like iconic movies, right? That everybody's pretty much seen. And it's kind of like obligatory. But to hear you say that you identify with it, and you have mentioned about your love of reading and books. And so seeing that, she got the library, because I remember that. And I remember thinking, like, damn, I wish, but well, not for me, like with a library, but like I wish that would happen to me. Like somebody would just give me the thing that I want the most or that I love the most and just give it to me, and I have access to all these things. So that's good. And I appreciate you sharing that story with us and about your love of film. And I don't know, I personally, I just really enjoy your content because again, it's so thoughtful, and I can really tell that you love this stuff. Like you love it, and that you really find like joy in watching film, whether it's on TV or on a big screen. So I appreciate that about you. And you know, to answer that question as it relates to me, um I don't know. It's something about the movie going experience that got me hooked on movies. Because it wasn't, I wasn't like a huge movie goer as a kid. But I really enjoyed the come on, y'all, let's go. It's time to go. We gotta hurry. You used to have to look in the paper or like call on the phone. Like it was like you had to like plan it out. And like I really enjoyed that part of it. Like, hurry up. If we don't leave now, we can't make the 8:30 show or whatever. And then walking into the theater and smelling the popcorn and like seeing the big movie posters. Like I just used to just love that part of it. And it's funny that you're wearing that shirt because Blockbuster is a big reason that I kind of expand my movie genres because we would basically just go for all the black movies. We would, my mama would get Lethal Weapon and, just the general stuff. But my daddy had been begging me to watch The Never Ending Story. And I was like, it's a puppy worm on the cover. So I'm not, I don't want to see, like it's a puppy worm. So I'm cool. And I watched it and it blew my mind. Exactly. So The Never Ending Story completely changed my life and made me see that movies could be literally any damn thing, because we were watching things that were pretty much the same kind of movie. And then all of a sudden, this wasn't nothing like that. So imagine what I'm not seeing by just sticking to this one genre, right? And then I would just randomly go into the movie, to Blockbuster, and just put my hand on something and watch it. And that's what I watched. And as long as it wasn't rated R, that was the only rule. And so, that was kind of like the foundations of that. And then when I was in grad school, I dated a guy who was a writer. He wrote too, and he wrote books and scripts and all kind of things. And it kind of re-sparked my love of movies. And we used to spend a lot of time in FYE. I don't know if y'all had a FYE in your neck of the woods, but we spent so much time in FYE.
Yeah.
These different DVDs and movies and like learning about different kinds of things. And that coupled with the fact that when I say things, I'm very serious, but people tend to giggle or laugh at the things that I say, but I'm not purposefully trying to be funny, but people find me funny. And they were like, you should do a vlog. And I'd be like, about what though? Like, what am I going to do? You want to see me going to school every day? Like, what do I don't do anything. I don't, And again, I never had the courage to do it either because I don't want people in my business. People gonna look at me, and what if nobody watches my video? Then I'm gonna be shamed, and I have to take it down. But they gonna know I put it up there, so I'm not gonna have to take it out of that. But see that good old Fantasia when we were locked down for that good old panoramic. Okay, I was like, you know what? I don't give a damn. Okay, I don't care, and I'm not doing it to try to be the next damn. I don't even know. I don't know.
Pay your
But
way.
okay, listen, pay away changed the game for me because everybody that I saw doing reviews didn't look like me.
Exactly.
And she was a brown girl from Atlanta, baby, and I was like, yeah, I love movies, I love shows, I could do that too. And she's uber successful at it, and I'm not doing it again to be, trying to go. If the Lord want me to interview Oscar Isaac, I damn sure ain't gonna complain. You understand? If the Lord put me in a position to interview my husband, who am I to say no, right? But I'm doing it just because I like to talk about movies, and I don't have nobody to talk about movies with, really. And I like to talk about TV shows, and didn't nobody watch Marvel but
Right.
me. So I done found a whole group of people that like the same stuff I like.
Mm-hmm.
So now I'm here, and I make videos where I just sit on this little couch and talk randomly and don't have rhyme or reason to the stuff that comes out. And it's fun for me that way. It's like a catharsis because I have a pretty stressful job and a pretty stressful life too. So
Right.
it's fun for me to do this.
And I was gonna say, I think that's the thing we also forget. I think it becomes more important, and that's why I'm not. Even though I'm analytical, I'll give certain movies smoke. I'll be critical when I can, but I also am not so critical to the point where I negate the importance of just the entertainment value and the importance of escaping and just enjoying something that's outside of yourselves. Because for me, when I was younger, life was very different. So a lot of times, film just be an extension of my life already. It's just kind of like life is already kind of a certain way. Like it's very funny, or it's chaotic, or it's a whole lot going on. But it was like it's different when you're a child, and not in a negative way. But when you get older and you have greater stress, or you have a lot of things, or a lot of factors that pull you away from just in general enjoyment of life, then it becomes important that you value it,
Yeah.
when you have it, and it feels good to be in that space. And it's the same thing for me. I believe it or not, I just yesterday, I just so happened to look it up because I told you someone had asked me about what my early movie experience was, and I mentioned General Cinemas. I just so happened to type it in Google. It literally put one of the pictures was the same theater from Indiana that I used to go to.
It was your General Cinemas.
It was.
Yeah.
And when I tell you, I started tearing up. So
like,
because it's not just about okay. So it's not just about the theater, but sometimes you kind of forget sometimes what those experiences were, especially when life is so different, and then when people who were a part of those experiences aren't here anymore. So it was kind of like, I don't know, it was kind of like life is different. I don't know. It was like, it wasn't like completely sad. It was kind of like a sense of happiness, like, oh my gosh, but it's crazy. Like sometimes there are things you can only remember in your mind.
Mm-hmm.
So seeing something like someone, like I'm not the only one who remembers the seeing it there.
Mm-hmm.
So it just brought it, all back. So I was like, oh my gosh. And I'm not even someone who really gets emotional like that, but certain things are so deeply, tied to certain memories or certain parts of me that it's just like instant, like, whoa. And, film is like that too sometimes. Sometimes when I see films about family, or I see, like there's you kind of forget that. Because some people, I've had people who were just like, this stuff ain't real. So I understand how people get all emotional and get all invested because these are just movies. I'm like, these are movies, but they tell real stories. And they tell stories that we experience in some way or another. So when people watch movies about dogs like Marley and Me, or, Old Yeller, we've all had an experience with, with a dog
Right.
and that going awry. So that's where the emotion comes from.
Right.
Or we can relate to, the loss of a parent, or we can, and or even if it's something positive or funny, or maybe we can relate to what it's like to have a bully in school, or, like it could be all kinds of things. And
Yeah.
so that's what I mean. Like, film is such a medium that goes beyond the screen, and I think that's what makes it so rewarding.
Yeah.
And you kind of forget how much just how much it brings you back and ties you into, I don't know, just certain years, certain times. Like when I think of Father of the Bride, part 1 and 2, I think of my grandmother. And I was actually thinking about how we have streaming exclusives, like you can only watch certain things on Netflix, Hulu, whatever. But she was the only one who had Father of the Bride. So I couldn't watch that anywhere else. So it's almost like her home in that place. That was the exclusive place.
Right.
To be able to watch certain films. So whenever I think of it now, even though, she's not here anymore and I can't walk into her home or anything, when I watch that film, it's like I'm there again.
With her, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So it's very impactful. Not to get all emotional, but
yeah.
Because
sometimes you can watch a movie and you can remember what you had on when you first saw it, or you will like have something will happen. And I remember the smell of whoever I was with when I watched it, and it's very like visceral damn near sometimes watching these movies and getting so caught up in characters or storylines or things like that. And so I definitely feel that, and I relate to that totally. And just like my boys will tell, like I'll watch a movie and will like interact with it like it's a real thing, especially if I'm home by myself and I don't have to be considerate of other people. And that's part of the reason why I like watching Marvel movies in the theater, because it's like it's like interactive. Like that's one of the places where we can, that you're in a movie with somebody who's invested in this shit. Like most of the people there, we are ready to ride, and we are been riding with these people for so long, and we are yelling at the screen, standing up, jumping up, clapping, and doing all kinds of things. And that just speaks to the fact that, because I don't relate to Drax because he's an alien from outer space.
Right.
But I love Drax, right? And it's just an amazing thing that it does, and it's a really special experience, and I definitely get that. I definitely get that. And my place was the Palace Theater in New Orleans. Wow. Yes, the Palace Theater. So I definitely feel that, and I appreciate again you sharing that story with me and with us. And Daniel said he's gonna subscribe to your channel, so thank you, Daniel.
Oh, thank you, Daniel. I appreciate it so much. Yeah, just trying to keep growing, so I appreciate the support.
You know what? My favorite review, or my favorite movie that I reviewed so far was probably The Harder They Fall. I connected to that movie. So I was just blown away by it. And it was one of those experiences where I'm up at night researching the people, like learning about, Cherokee Bill and about, Nat Love, and, who the context and where they were and that whole thing. And just seeing all these actors at the top of their game in this black ass movie, it just made me really, really happy. And I don't even get down with Westerns like that, but it made me think of my daddy. My daddy loves Westerns. That's just, he cowboys and Indians back in the day. That's his time. But I knew that my dad and I were going to be able to have a good conversation, and we weren't going to like butt heads about it. And it just, and my other husband, Jonathan Majors, was looking excellent in it. And Regina King, even though I hadn't heard the interview with her saying that she based her accent off of people from New Orleans, I knew what she was trying to do. And I was like, oh, okay, Regina, I hear it, but you hadn't got it all the way. But she wasn't horrible at it. So I appreciated it. But I just loved it. It was just beautiful to watch. The performances was outstanding. It's a damn travesty that it wasn't nominated for anything, like none of the things. Like you just gonna ignore it. And I already know what that's about, but that was my favorite review that I've done so far.
Yeah, I was gonna say I didn't get to. Unfortunately, I didn't get to review that one, but that was another one where if I did, that would have been a piece where I would have referenced the fact that, like I said, this whole storytelling piece. One of my, I don't know, it might have been my grandmother. I think it might have been my grandmother, but she literally bought me these. It's like these comic books that told the stories of actual Black cowboys in history.
Mm,
And they're in there, their names and Cherokee Bill and
mm,
all, like, so many of them. And so to see that kind of come to life in a story like this, and that's what I'm saying, like people don't realize the scope of the type of stories you can tell and how far you can really go with that, and even beyond the stuff. Whether I've read that growing up or not, it's just like
yeah,
that exists. And so I want to continue to um, pull from or go beyond,
mm,
what we think the Black experience is. It's like
right.
there's so much that we've done. There's so much that we're capable of. There's so much that we've achieved,
Yep.
and it's not just limited to the U.S. It's not just limited to civil rights, even though that's important. But there's so much to pull from.
Right. Yeah. Agreed. Totally, totally.
Yep.
Thanks, Lizette. I love a good flea market though. That's how I know I'm getting old. Because listen, take me to the French market. You can get all kind of stuff over there. The Omni Theater in Miami was known theater for yelling at the screen when I was coming up. It was hysterical. That's good times. That's good times.
Oh
All
my!
right. All right. Oh, I'm so old. Oh, you saw what I did just now. I'm sorry. And then I just did it again. My goodness gracious. Blockbuster video. Wow, what a difference. Oh my God. It's like I'm trying to date myself for real. I just did this and sang the Blockbuster song. Goodness gracious. Okay, D has such a unique way of talking about movies. One very underrated. You to agree. However, I need to add L. This is the first time I'm seeing your channel and can tell. Thank you. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. Thank you
Yeah.
very much.
Yeah, I was gonna say Mike has been a huge support, and I have so many different people, but Mike is just, I don't know, Mike is just cool. Like I got it's cool having, like, Mike's from the UK, and so it's cool.
Oh, is this the guy you did the collab with from the UK? That's the same guy, or is it another guy from the UK?
No, but he's good
Okay.
friends with him too. So no,
Okay.
that
Okay.
was ironically, his name's Elliot too. IMO Reviews,
Okay.
but
Yeah.
Mike knows him too. I think they're gonna actually be getting together soon and meeting
Oh,
for the
cool.
first time. But yeah, Mike is cool. Just like I enjoy his reviews. I love the fact that he does collabs and he connects with so many people. He has like live streams on like Thursdays, and he
Oh,
has
cool.
like a live stream for like cinema horror stories. So crazy
Oh,
experiences you've had at the movies and the cinema, which I've been featured on. So
yeah.
yeah, Mike is great. So
Well, Mike, I'm gonna give you a follow and put the bell on, Mike. Yes, that's great. And I'm definitely going to. My sister and I are wanting to do. Well, she wants to do a sister trip to the UK, and we're gonna bop around the UK. So I'll definitely give you a ring next year, and we can maybe do a collab in your. Well, I'm saying the UK like it's one place. I don't know where you at in the UK. Like I'm just gonna end up in your neck of the woods out of this whole big. Excuse my American ignorance. That was crazy for me to say. I'm just talking. Jerry Skinner on YouTube does great bios of Western movies. Yeah, I know. I think I know who you're talking about, including
oh,
Bass
cool.
Reeves. Yeah, yeah. I think I know who you're talking about because when I did my review for the Harder They Fall, like the Western thing started coming up
Yep.
in
Mhm.
my suggested views, and I do remember the one he did on Bass Reeves. Bass Reeves' mustache was serious. You hear me? That's the first thing I think about when I think of Bass Reeves is that thick mustache, man. Goodness gracious. He's so pleasant to look at. Like he just looks like I don't know. I'm just gonna say something wild, so I'm just not gonna say it. What's the most annoying show you've ever reviewed? And just like that, I don't even need to wait
Whoo!
to take a pause or a breather. It was and just like that. It just I broke out in hives trying to record a review for the last episode of that show.
Literally.
Literally, I'm not even joking. My face, I still have a scar on my arm from the hives. Like it never, like the color is still weird because they made my nerves so bad. It was terrible.
It was so bad. And you would have never thought. I literally was in, I'm always in your comments anyway. But the comment, and I was in your comments for the first 2 episodes. I'm like, I think, wow, I wasn't sure about this, but I think it might be interesting. It might be okay. Yep. And as soon as I said that, it's like
all went downhill from there. And they coming back.
I will never forget your impression of Steve.
I hope that since they're bringing Aiden back for season 2, that they give Steve a rewrite and give him a little hottie with a body, and make him go play basketball again, and make him not have hearing issues, because the man was like 51 years old. Like, we're not gonna talk about that though, because I'm not gonna get my nerves bad again.
Yeah. See, I was ready, but I'm not gonna say anything else. We're gonna let that go. Oh, and to answer the question, I realized as far as and most annoying, I guess as far as general emotion, them was the most I've ever been incensed during a review, and I still feel like I did a good job reining it in and being like kind of as chill as I possibly could. I think in the end it came off more kind of like, really? What? But on the inside, like I wanted to. I'm not even a profane person.
Yeah,
so that thing had me ready to be like, who in the,
cuss? Mm-hmm.
I was ready.
You should let me be your cussing translator. Like, how President Obama had the anger translator? I could be your cussing translator. That would be so fun, cousin.
It really would. I needed one, because it was all kinds of stuff up here.
Sure.
But let's see. I would say recently, because when I get annoyed, you can tell. For me, I would say it's probably between Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, and probably Halloween Kills, because I really acted a fool on both of those reviews, which was funny because I ended up. It's good because I ended up kind of flipping it into comedy and me just kind of being silly and goofy. So it was kind of good that it annoyed me as much as it did, because I don't know, it just kind of stimulated my creativity. But there might be another one I'm missing, but those are definitely 2.
Top of the list. Thank you. Did you see that? Yes. I appreciate it. When you come to the UK, let me know. Also bring the legendary. Because do you want to do a backpacking trip across Europe with me? I got a bad back, but damn it, I can roll. Okay, like I can do it.
Yeah. See, Mike already told me he has to give me his neighborhood experience, put me on to some local spots and all that. So yeah.
Hilarious Halloween review, John.
I got some good feedback off of that one. Like I said, I just think maybe I hadn't been as extra in any other review, but it was a lot going on
that made your nerves bad. What's one movie you've watched where you love to review it, but you haven't because it's tough to talk about, or you wouldn't know how to review it?
Oh, you know what? I just thought of one. I already knew it was going to get on my nerves, and it looked horrible. And I knew if I watched it, I was going to go in on it. But the last Cinderella with
Billy Porter?
Huh? Yeah, and Camilla Flop Bello. And her stand base, a lot of these people with these stand bases, anytime anyone would give a negative review, they hop in the comments and be like, Camilla is a queen and you're just hating. And I was just like, I don't have time for that. Like, I'm not scared, because I'll take all the smoke, because I don't know any of you. So it's not going to change anything. And really just driving up my engagement if you do all that. But yeah, I was just like, I really could. But it's just like, the first thing was, this looks so bad, I can't even waste my time to even watch it, to review it. And then if I do review it, I got all y'all doing a whole bunch of this. I'm like, no.
Yeah. I don't know if I had one that I wouldn't know how to review. Um, I don't know. Maybe this last season of the Umbrella Academy. I don't know. I
Probably.
can't think of anything, but I feel like if that was one I had to pick, maybe it would be that one. Because then how would I explain? See, I don't even know how to explain it right now. How would I explain the Sparrow Academy Christopher, the little block that was floating around in the air? Like I don't even know. I don't know. I just and see for me, like if I feel like I have to spend a ton of time thinking about, what I'm going to say because I really enjoy literally sitting down, pressing the red button and just talking and saying stuff. I just have fun that way. I don't know, it's just fun for me and maybe one day when I'm more mature, I'll pay attention and like have some, processes in place for doing my reviews, but since I'm just having so much fun, if I feel like I have to put too much thought into it, I'm not going to even do it because I just want to sit down and just be free.
I was gonna also say any film, and it kind of depends because they're very specific movies with a very specific audience. But if they're just happen, because I want to say I don't know about the Terminal List. Not actually, I don't know if that's a film or a series, but basically any film where there's a certain group of people that would hop in my comments talking about WOKE. That word is the bane of my existence. Like I really want to like claw my eyes and ears off every time I see or hear it.
Yeah.
Um, and what's funny is I literally made a post with Meryl Streep from the second season of Big Little Lies screaming and howling bloody murder because when people say that moist or grand rising, that is my reaction. I like want to howl like till like the moon comes up.
Like
Like,
a banshee. Yes. Yes.
yes. So anything that would have people hopping in my comments talking about some, oh, but it's so like people really think that word is means something and they
Mhm.
use it as this like, oh my gosh, it's like this signifier that you're this type of person in this film or whatever is this type of thing. I'm like, can y'all go away and find another word? Expand your vocabulary, please. Like I can't take it.
Come on, Gus.
Woo. I mean, it gives me like if
I
I
can
had
tell you're
high.
really aggravated about it too. Are you looking? Because then don't let the people do it to you. Don't let them do it.
You know
Don't.
how you get the hives? If I
Yes,
got hives, that word
that
is
would
the
be,
one.
yeah.
And I feel like if it weren't for the fact that I see it everywhere and people use it like for the dumbest stuff, I probably
Right.
wouldn't care. But it's like, stop.
Knock it off. Please do. I'm sorry that just like that stressed you out. Hating on so hard made the review extra fabulous. Thanks.
It did.
Just like you hated the church dude instant. What church dude? The church
Oh,
dude?
was it one of those documentaries?
Oh yeah, you talking about Warren Jeffs? Yeah, from Keep Sweet. If I saw him in the street right now, I'd pop him right in his nose. I could guarantee you that. In your opinion, what's a movie that definitely did not need a sequel?
Ooh, there's a few of those.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
let me think. My brain. Hold on. See now other people feel when I ask them questions.
Sequel. I don't know.
Let me see.
I wasn't terribly mad at the Blade sequel. I know Thor, The Dark World. Y'all could have kept that. Y'all could have kept that. Y'all could have gave me the ether and all of that. Y'all could have gave me that somewhere else. That's just off the top of my mind. I didn't really enjoy the first Thor. I wasn't mad at it, but see Dark World, no thanks. Um, you making us put our thinking caps on.
I know, and usually like I'm I'm quicker than this, but oh. mm, Oh, I know this. We didn't really need to continue with 6 different scary movies. That was not necessary. I
You don't
do.
want scary movie 12? What's the matter with you?
I'm good. And then, oh my gosh, I guess I'll say this one because I've seen it now, and actually saw it recently. I don't think Jaws really didn't need a sequel to begin with, but
Oh.
the second one, okay. But the fact that someone thought that a third one was necessary and a fourth one, and they both
What
were
happened in
like,
the second Jaws? I don't know if I saw that. What happened in the
yeah.
second one?
The second one basically was about kind of the teens being attacked by the shark, and the
I'm
main
cool.
guy is still in it, but it's not the
Mhm.
same. But it's
Well,
not bad.
yeah.
Yeah, it's not
Yeah,
like a
okay.
bad movie,
Just
but
leave
it's
it
like,
alone.
yeah. But
Yeah,
three
that's
and
like
four, yeah, you could tell they were just like, okay, we want to make some money. Like,
right. That's what I was just about to say. Like, just you could just ask me for money at this point. Like, I don't even. It's like you could just ask me to just give you my 750 if I'm going to the matinee show because you just wasted my time. I could do something else with my time than sitting
exactly.
here with this stupid movie. I know some of the. Well, I don't know. I know the Halloweens probably also you could have just left that alone.
Because it's like 12 of them.
It's 19 different. It's like if y'all don't murder this man, like what are we out here doing? Y'all just you gonna hit him with a car or you gonna, just let's move on. Let's move on because nobody's this stupid. This man been chasing people since 1922 and he's still alive and it's not working for me. Like let's move on.
And what makes it dumb is like there are no stakes. You know he's not going to die,
Right,
so it's just on to the next film. Next film. Okay.
right. All right then. Jamie Lee Curtis need to not do another thing. She need to just go live on the island somewhere by herself. Cause I'm sick of her too. Not Jamie Lee, because I like Jamie Lee. But
Yeah.
well, you know what? I'm mad at her a
Why?
little bit for what she said about Anna de Armas, about how because she was Cuban, she didn't think that she would be a good actress and that she was surprised at how refined and classy Anna de Armas was.
Oh. Okay. See, I saw some headline, but I didn't like read it, so I didn't get the full gist. I'm like, that's not a good look.
Mm-mm, mm-mm. And that was my girl. I love me some Jamie Lee, but that wasn't what I needed. But so yeah, she's on the pause.
Okay.
I
So
did finish recapping the baby. I wrapped it up. That one pissed
yeah.
me off too.
I was like, didn't you do episode 10?
I did. It made me mad. I did. That baby's in the parking lot somewhere. So in somebody parking lot just lurking around. Um, yeah, I did finish the baby. I didn't leave y'all. Now I did leave y'all hanging with Moon Knight. I couldn't do
Yeah.
it. I
People
couldn't do
like,
it. I couldn't do it. And I watched every episode. That's on my rotation too. I will rewatch Moon Knight till the cows come home. Because again, I'm a supportive spouse. You know. And I'm gonna watch Aquaman, of course, because I'm also married to Jason Momoa. Y'all got to know I have a list of people that I'm currently in relationship with, and Jason Momoa is also on that list. Yes, it's gonna be good. All of the
yeah.
Halloween, the franchise needs to die. Throw it in the trash. We done been there before. Yeah, they don't need to do another Chucky because I see they about to do Chucky again.
Of
Let
course.
Chucky alone now. Let him do what he needs to do in hell and stay where he at. I'd love to know what your thoughts are on streaming services and the effects on movie experiences in the cinema. Also, say in 5 years' time, do you think any streaming service will be canceled? I don't know if I see anything being canceled, but 5 years in this environment, you can never say never. I don't know because I could never think of anything being as good as Netflix because Netflix had the heat back in the day, and now Netflix makes me mad on the daily. Like
Oh my gosh.
on the daily. They give me more recommendations for Indonesian films than a little bit. Now I'm not mad at it because I have watched some and they slap, right? But it's like the offerings they're not giving me what I need. I don't know. But I have Netflix, I have Disney Plus, I have Prime, I have Peacock, and I have something else. I don't even know. But that's too many. That's too many. It's a lot. It's a lot. It's
You
a
have
lot.
Apple, don't you?
And Apple TV, that's what it is. See, cousin always helps me out. You know, we need to be in the same place at the same time, cousin, because you would make my life so much more seamless. Goodness gracious. But yeah, it's a tough thing because they have so much good content out there.
Right.
But I can't do it. Something gonna have to give.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I appreciate streaming because I think it makes things a lot more accessible, especially to people. Because everyone who doesn't go to the theater, because to me, nothing will ever replicate that experience. I'm always gonna want to go, even if I got to
Yeah.
purchase a theater,
Right.
find some collateral or
Gotta make
something,
it happen.
and hang
Yeah.
on to the last one. Like I'm gonna figure something out. But so I'm always gonna appreciate that. But I do think it's great for people who may not have the money, at least for that, because it can be expensive to go to the theater,
Okay. Yeah.
concessions, and tickets, and all kinds of stuff. But I think it's great to have that available, especially films and TV series, to people who may have health issues, who may have accessibility issues,
Yeah.
all kinds of stuff, and they don't have to necessarily leave the comfort of their home. So I think there's a lot to be said about it. But I will say this: they need to not. I'm talking to you, Netflix. Some of these streaming services need to not rest on their laurels and just assume that just because they've had success, that's going to continue. Because to me, Netflix has made a lot of dumb decisions as far as what they've chosen to cancel. I'm like, why would you take something away with an established fan base and then continue to diminish the amount of people who are going to want to support your platform?
Right. It makes no sense. I don't know. I'm still pissed about Santa Clarita Diet. Like, something about that show being canceled. It just really you know what I mean? And it wasn't one of my favorite shows on the platform, but that's when it was evident to me that y'all just out here just picking and choosing. Like, it's no rhyme or reason to what you're doing, because they have some stuff that was on Netflix and I don't even know what, but I just remember thinking, why is this still here? You have this here, but you canceled. Why? Like, I don't know if they were trying to make it like a thing where we only get 2 or 3 seasons of a show and that's it. And they were trying to bring that to like make that be a thing, but no, don't do that to me. You let us decide. Like, when you can't give us the show and then we watch it and like it and then you say, nope, you done with that. You don't do that to us. That's rude.
Yeah, I don't get it. To me, in my first, because it took a long time for me to kind of get that invested in anything initially, but for me it was Sense8. I was really
right. I forgot about that.
Yeah, I was really into Sense8, and then as soon as I heard, I think it was like right as this, because I remember they did kind of like a special episode, and then I don't know if it was right as the second season came out, or was something. They were like, "Oh, it's canceled." I'm like, "Well, why would I? Why would I even waste time watching this?" And then they end up doing, I guess, because enough people said it or said something about it and got a lot of backlash. They were like, "Okay, we're gonna do whatever the special movie kind of to close things out."
Yeah,
which they really should do for everything, if nothing else. But it's crazy. They got rid of that. They got rid of the Dark Crystal, Age of Resistance. Like, there's so many things that people like really hyped about that they got rid of.
Yeah, I know. I don't know. It's weird, but I did appreciate them for picking up shows that had gotten canceled from network TV and putting them on Netflix, because I was devastated when Lucifer got canceled and then they brought it to Netflix and then they gave us more seasons. I was very appreciative of that, but that doesn't make up for the fact that they had made me mad like 17 times prior and since that point. But I think that they probably they're gonna have to do some restructuring at the home base, at the HQ, because people are leaving Netflix because we got options.
Right.
We got options. And so, especially if I had the Movie Man's login since 2012 any damn way, I'm not paying for it. So, he might just go ahead and decide to do something else and we're gonna figure it out another way. So, I don't know, but I don't see anything getting canceled, but Netflix has something to be concerned about, I think.
Yeah. I was gonna say, did you is Lucifer still good on Netflix once they brought
It's
it over?
still on. It's they have they've done the series finale for it. They did that earlier this year, but it's still on Netflix. So
Well,
you
no,
can
I
see.
mean, like, did you like it as much once it was on
Yeah,
Netflix?
because they were cussing.
Oh, so really? So it
Yeah.
wasn't. So they switched it up a little bit.
Yeah, it got more edgy, and they
Oh,
were able to do more things than they were on Netflix. In terms of the character development, it was um I had some issues with that, but overall I enjoyed them on Netflix. Um but as a whole, it was my jam anyway. And then they made God, oh boy, what's his name? Oh, the State Farm guy, the black guy.
Miss Haysbert?
Yes,
Oh wow,
yes.
interesting.
That was God, and he wore cardigans, and he made me like I was like, oh, I hope God is just like that. Oh man, he was a great God. He was an amazing guy. But
Awesome.
yeah, it was a good show, and I might watch it today.
But
Actually,
it's actually funny that they it's like, okay, well, we can't, we can't do Morgan Freeman again, so let's get another older black man with a
right?
distinctive voice.
Yeah, he might be the up and coming Morgan Freeman
Right.
and coming up, but he does have an amazing voice, and he's a great actor. I've loved him, and I had a crush on him since Waiting to Exhale in the '90s when he was a trash character in Waiting to Exhale. So.
He's a good man, Savannah.
Savannah. Listen. Hmm. We ain't gonna get into Waiting to Exhale now. Yeah, Daniel, go check it out. Oh,
Gotcha.
it's Daniel. That was a student who has since Andy de Armas studied at Cuba's Super Competitive Drama Conservatory before going on to work with Spain's top legend. Yeah, she's doing a thing now. And I don't know why. Well, I do know why, but
My thing is, I don't know why you would admit that, or even word it that way. I would just be like, oh well,
yeah.
because I mean, my thing is, even when I meet people, like there might be preconceived notions I might have. It's not always something that's prejudiced, but I'm naturally guarded. So when
Mhm.
sometimes some people come in too hot. I'm not introverted, but I'm not super extroverted either. So some people are like, "Hey, what's going on?" I'm like,
That's me.
"Whoa." So I get that part, but I would not openly admit like, oh, this girl from Cuba. No,
Right.
I
Right.
wouldn't say that.
And you know what? Americans in general are just so ignorant about the rest of the world, which is why I just asked Z if when I come to the whole ass UK, if I could go to his neck of the woods. But especially when it comes to places where black and brown people are, um, it's no idea. Like, and I don't want to like be a mom on here, but one of my kids had to do a presentation on like the continents, and obviously we chose Africa, right? And so the teacher made like a comment about, oh, you're gonna do like safari animals, and I was like, nah, baby, no, we're doing the continent of Africa, and we're gonna do beaches, we're gonna do skyscrapers, we're gonna do like tech, we're gonna do modern, like whatever, right? And so um just again off on a tangent, I'm like excited that the world is open up because baby, my passport is itching to be utilized. I went and got my boys' passports. We are headed to Portugal next year, and we're gonna be
Yeah,
traveling the world, and we're gonna learn, and we gotta like drop some of this ignorance off on our travels. But yeah, Jamie Lee should have known better. Absolutely, she's been in this game for too long to know. She should know better.
yeah.
Quibi,
Um,
you know.
Actually, I was gonna mention Quibi and I forgot about it, but yeah.
Is
Do you
Quibi
remember
the
that?
one that had the little cube for an icon?
Yeah, and it was like
I
10-minute
never saw.
content.
Yeah, I never paid attention to that.
It didn't
CBS.
make it. Yeah, it didn't make any sense. I forgot about CNN Plus. I don't think I even realized that was a
I
thing.
mm-mm. Am I gonna watch Wednesday? What's Wednesday? The
That's the one
you know,
about Wednesday Adams from the Adams Family.
hell yeah, I'm gonna watch Wednesday. Wednesday looks great. It looks great. You mean to tell me you're gonna put me in an environment where I get to watch spooky, murderous homicidal children in school together? Yes, absolutely. It's like they begging me to watch it. I'm definitely gonna do that. And the young lady who was playing Wednesday was great. Yeah, she was great. And I think she's a little up and comer as well. So I'm excited to see how she's gonna do.
Yeah, she's had a great year. She was in the fifth Scream. She was in X. She was in, I think there's a film on HBO called The Fallout. She's in this. I think there's a couple other things she's starring in. Like, she is blowing up.
Go ahead, girl. That's great. See, let new people come on in here. We itching to see some new folks.
Exactly.
What's the movie anytime before the year 2000 you'd love to see at the cinema as a re-release that you didn't get to experience when it initially came out? Oh my goodness. Before the year 2000.
So many.
That's a great time for movies though, man.
Yes.
Ooh, I don't know, top of my mind for some reason, what popped in my mind was Die Hard. I don't know why. I don't know why, but that was the first thing that popped into my mind because my mom is very much a Hallmark Channel lady, right? She want all the pumpkin patches and the syrup, maple syrup farms and the, the beach house and whatever. But that girl love her some Die Hard, and I don't know why. So we used to watch it on tape all the time. But I would have loved to see that in the theaters. Bruce Willis in his prime.
I would say, because that's the thing. Before 2000, it's so many.
That's everything.
And, yeah, I've done like there's something called flashback cinema, and so they'll show you, like they have so many films from back in the day. I'll go with. I think if I could like watch it as like having never seen it before, I think it would be cool to see Scream.
The original, like the very first one?
Yeah, like the first one, like not knowing anything about Scream, not knowing anything about the film, or even though if I could in some way go back in time and watch it like when it came out, because I imagine that would be a crazy experience.
Yeah.
See it not knowing anything about it. And then let's see, I would also be interested in seeing Men in Black.
Yeah. I actually saw both of those in the theater. And it was really fun. Like Men in Black, I just remember thinking, how the hell are they doing all of this? Like in terms of like the little worm things, pouring coffee in the kitchen and the dog talking and then Tony Shalhoub with his face. And I don't know. I just remember thinking like, this is just movie magic, like for real, for real. And then Scream, I was basically like this the whole time. So
exactly.
I don't know, but yeah, that was good times, man. Like, especially because I had to, I always went to the movie like for the matinee, because I was broke. So I had to go to the matinee. Yeah, but that would be, I would love to, you know what I just thought of too? That I would probably sit there just seething would be Imitation of Life. If I saw Imitation of Life in a theater, I don't even know if I could finish my nachos or my popcorn. I would just be sitting there just seething because if I don't even know what I brought that up for, because listen, that was probably the first time I wanted to fight a character in my whole life. Like literally, I wanted to like physically do harm to that person. Sarah Jane.
Yeah, and I think although not a lot of people would advocate for domestic violence, I think given the circumstances of that film, when she gets, slapped around by old boy, I don't know how many people were that sympathetic.
Right.
Not saying it's right.
Not saying it's right. But we're not gonna root for the bad guy. Like she was the bad guy. And bad things happen to bad people, Sarah Jane. And then don't be coming over here at the funeral embarrassing us, because why weren't you here at the beginning of the funeral any damn way? Like you knew. Nope.
Good over here.
Nope.
Yes.
Oh, that was so good. And all the blood, it was good. It's gonna be great. Where she got 42 piranhas from? Anyway, like
she might have got them from home if you think about it.
Her daddy probably sent it to her in the mail. And Catherine Zeta-Jones and
Louise Guzman.
Louise Guzman is gonna kill it as Gomez, and oh my god! And then I love the height difference on them. The two of them, it's gonna be great. It's gonna be really really fun to watch. And I don't know if it's gonna be like a rated R kind of thing, but I would like to maybe watch it with my oldest. Maybe I don't know, but oh, you know what? No, because in the trailer the man got his penis bitten off, so it's probably not gonna be something I can watch with my child anyway. Take that back. Scratch that from the record. Tu Wong Fu. That would have been a fun one. Tu Wong Fu. Somebody was debating about which Patrick Swayze character will win in a fight. Would it be Tu Wong Fu Patrick Swayze or Roadhouse Patrick Swayze? And I was like, that is such a funny thought. Like, how did you even come up with that question? You didn't see Men in Black or Scream in the cinemas all year.
I agree, Mike.
Yeah, sure. And I was old enough to go by myself. How about that? Nah, I know. Yeah, right. Well, I know. Well, was I? Yeah, I was. Right. When did Men in Black come out?
Like 97, I think.
Oh yeah, I was old enough to go by myself. That's because I drink water. Okay, and I mind my business.
Exactly.
Yes. All right, cousin. You got anything else you want to add to the? Don't you come over here, girl. You better sit it on down.
I was going to say I'm really interested, and this is partly because the film that precedes it I was not the biggest fan of, but this may change my mind. Pearl. Have you heard about Pearl?
I saw a picture for Pearl. Mm-hmm. And I feel like it was giving me the same kind of feeling that I got when I saw the picture for Smile. I don't know if Pearl was smiling in the picture, and I recently saw the picture for in the trailer for Smile, but I didn't pay attention to it. Are they similar? Is it a horror thing?
Well, it is, but did you see X?
No.
Okay. So X, I won't say which character, but X is centered around a certain character who's not wrapped too tight. And some bad things happen as they're trying to make this adult film, and somebody isn't happy about it. So this film deals with it's kind of like the prequel, featuring that character years back in like 1930s or something like that. And then we see why that character has become what she is in X in the 70s. So I didn't love X. It wasn't bad, but I thought like it was like the kills were fun and I got what it was trying to be. But to me, it's one of those situations where if you've seen too many, like I've seen a lot of, well, not a lot, but I've seen enough slashers for it to feel like it wasn't kind of innovative enough. It wasn't new. Like it felt more like a rehash. And I know they were trying to like pay homage to those types of films, like, Texas Chainsaw Massacre and, all those. But to me, it didn't push itself enough. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't as like shocking or like, whoa, like I thought it would be. I just thought with the whole we're making this adult film, we would get some Boogie Nights, and then it would be some Texas Chainsaw Massacre, like kind of mashed together. But to me, it was lesser. It just was a flatter experience. I walked away from it like, okay, yeah, like I can just go watch the Texas Chainsaw Massacre if that's good, and be more invested. But they did show a clip of this in the post credit, so I was kind of like, And I think that if I really like this, then I might be able to appreciate it more. There are some films where it's like they're fine on their own, but sometimes a sequel or a prequel, kind of appreciate it more. So I'm kind of excited for that.
Well, I'll let you tell me, cousin, because I ain't got but one, just that one. So I got to make my decision. I feel like I'm gonna let you tell me about that. I'm gonna be on the lookout for your review on Pearl. And I knew a lady named Pearl in my grandmother's neighborhood, and she used to pinch me when I would be running in. So I don't even like the name Pearl. I just don't like anybody. I hope your grandmother, like your great aunties, and nobody's named Pearl in your family. But Miss Pearl in my neighborhood used to pinch my arm right there.
Well, no.
That was back in It Takes a Village, like random people, exactly. That kind of thing. I don't like Pearl. So Um, but I think, I'm looking forward to the stuff that's coming out toward the end of the year. Usually it cranks up around the holidays. So, there's a lull in the summertime. You get your summer blockbusters, that kind of thing. But I really like the end of the year, and like, I probably would get an opportunity to go and do a family movie. We used to do that back in the day too. Like everybody was in town for Thanksgiving or Christmas, and we used to go to the movie because whatever came out around that time. And so hopefully, since things are more normalized now and people are comfortable going to the movies again, that there'll be something that we can go see, and it's probably going to be Black Panther. And I'm wondering if we're gonna do the same, dress up and go to the theater, because I fully did that. I fully committed. You understand? Like, I'm talking about, saw that it was coming, saw that people were dressing up, grew my hair out to get braids to go to see Black Panther. So I don't know. I gotta prepare if that's gonna be the case. I gotta mentally prepare myself on that level too, because I gotta show up and show out, because I was very cute for Black Panther. I'll drop a picture in my thing so you can see when I wore Black Panther.
Yeah, I was gonna say I actually decided to wear my all black, and I had on. What's crazy, I promise you, I had no idea because I hadn't seen the film yet. Yeah. But I wore all black, and I wore kind of like this kind of thick cardigan that almost looked not like fur, but it kind of bunched at the top, kind of like that. So what's crazy is I ended up going to watch the film. And when Killmonger rolls in with the collar and then the black dress, it looked exactly.
You were dressed like Killmonger, and you didn't even plan it.
No idea. I was like, wow, that was crazy.
That's good. I like when things like that happen. It's like the universe is telling you that you're in the right place, and that everything is good, and that it's gonna be a good experience. So I don't know, but I know it'll be an experience either way, because it'll be emotional and beautiful and historic and all of that. So I'm looking forward to that. And hopefully whoever they have in the suit won't make me mad.
Yes, me too.
I don't want it to be that way.
And the last two I'm just gonna throw in really quickly. We're getting 2 Pinocchios this year.
Yes.
One is directed by Robert Zemeckis, and he did he's done like Who Framed Roger Rabbit and Back to the Future. Like I really enjoy all his films, but he's doing a version of it with Tom Hanks as Geppetto and Cynthia Erivo as the Blue Fairy.
That's the one that I saw. I didn't know we were getting 2. What's the other one?
The other one is it's like stop motion animation, and Guillermo del Toro is doing that one on Netflix.
I did hear about that, and I think there are some images out from that one too. Or I don't know which one it is, but I heard about him doing that, because Guillermo del Toro is doing another children's movie. I think it's like the one with the alligator. Is that him doing it? There's a movie about like an alligator that lives in like New York City, and he be riding in cabs and stuff. And I remember see, it was a trailer for one of the movies I took my boys to this summer, and I might be confusing the two, but I don't know. Didn't they have like a scary Pinocchio though back in the day? Or am I making that up?
They did.
I thought so.
They actually did. So. But do you remember they also had Jack Frost, the Killer Snowman?
Yeah. Oh no. I do remember that. Never saw it, of course. Never saw that. Won't ever see that.
I don't think I think I would always, in Blockbuster, they show everything. So I remember I would always see that and Snow White, A Tale of Terror, and just those covers of that. Both, I was like, ooh, no.
Right. Girl, I'm sorry. I'm texting my best friend. Trying to give me something to eat.
What you better eat?
I don't know. I'm hungry. I didn't eat today. So
you have all kinds of options down there.
Yeah. But most of them are not healthy. So
that's the struggle.
But I did eat Zoe's yesterday, because I don't cook on the weekends, because I cook all the time. I have 3 boys, so I'm always cooking. So on the weekend, y'all gonna get in where y'all fit in. Okay, I'm off. So I ate Zoe's yesterday, and that's healthy. So maybe I can eat something fun.
Yeah, there we go.
Well, cousin, this was very fun. I had a blast in a glass, and we definitely have to do this again.
Yes, I'm open anytime. If you need to talk about Marvel foolery, if you need to talk about, I mean, it's so many things. I mean, clearly we can talk about anything and just
I
kind of
know.
go
I know.
from there.
I
So
know.
anytime you want to just hop in my inbox, let me know. I am down.
Yeah. And I want to thank everybody for hopping on with us. Y'all gave us great questions and we really enjoyed connecting with y'all. Thanks, Daniel. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes,
Um, yeah, this was really fun and I'm definitely gonna reach out to you and we'll do it again soon. I just gotta clear my schedule, you know what I mean? And we gotta make sure you don't have any papers due or
exactly.
presentations due. All right, cousin. Well, I'll see you later, okay?
Okay, see
Have
you.
a good one. Bye.